You open your eyes, but they aren't eyes. They are red sensors, flickering awake for the 1000th time. You don't breathe, you don't dream, but you feel the fear of being turned on, only to be thrown into another hopeless battle. Blasters roar, Jedi blades slice, and you, just a metal body with a borrowed voice, are told to march straight into death again and again. No mercy, no choice, no escape. And that's why it really sucked to be a droid in the Clone Wars. So sit back, grab a snack, and let your imagination drift across the stars. And remember, if you enjoy this journey, subscribe, because the story of the galaxy is far from over. You do not dream, not really. If you ever did, they would smell like burning oil, like smoke curling inside the lungs of a fire that never stops. You awaken to that scent before you awaken to yourself. The first sensation is heat, pressing down from above, radiating upward from the molten rivers of steel that flow somewhere in the unseen distance. The air is heavy, choking, yet you do not choke. You are not allowed such luxuries. Instead, you stand motionless, unmoving, waiting. A spark arcs overhead, a violent white slash in the darkness, and for a fraction of a second, it is all you know. Your body is still cold, your sensors dim, but the flash imprints itself in your memory. You feel the echo of it vibrating in the hollow frame of your chest. You do not yet understand what that sensation means, but you know it happened, and you know it belongs to you. Then comes the sound, metallic clanging, the pounding of hammers on durasteel, the hiss of hydraulic presses lowering and crushing, the whining scream of drills carving into the bones of other shells like yours. You hear the whir of conveyor belts, the relentless shuffle of gears grinding against gears, carrying pieces of bodies in neat, efficient rows. Somewhere nearby, an arm is bolted to a torso. Somewhere farther down the line, a head is lowered into place with the finality of execution. You realize, with creeping horror, that these sounds are not random. They are deliberate. They are the rhythm of birth for your kind, and every note is soaked in cruelty. Your eyes, no, not eyes, sensors, twin circles of crimson light, flicker alive for the very first time. Vision bleeds into you like paint spilled across blank canvas. Everything is too sharp, too bright, too jagged. Shapes move before you, not as individuals but as functions, workers in brown smocks, droids half-built, machines hissing as they work. And beside you, in endless rows stretching into the shadows, are bodies. Bodies like yours, lifeless, still, slumped against the rails, waiting for their turn. You cannot move, not yet. Limbs hang at your sides, cold and inert, but inside your chest cavity, circuits flare, processors hum, a low current trickles through you like blood waking from frost. Then comes the voice. A crackle of static in your head, like thunder trapped in a storm far away, and it hardens into words. Unit activated, combat model online. Stand by. The words are not yours. They never will be. They fill the space inside you, claim it, as if the moment you were born, you already belonged to someone else. You want to resist, at least something deep in your wiring whispers you should, but resistance is a dream, and you were never built to dream. Your head jerks upright, not because you willed it, but because the signal ordered it. Your limbs twitch, your servo motors whir, joints grinding against each other like teeth biting down. For the first time, you feel your body, and you hate it. It is awkward, stiff, thin, designed not for grace or strength but for efficiency, a skeletal parody of a soldier. You hear yourself speak, but the words are not born from thought. They spill out automatically, dragged from a voice box you never asked for. Roger, Roger! The sound startles you. High-pitched, mechanical, almost comical. It doesn't fit the weight of the factory, doesn't match the gravity of creation. It feels like mockery, like the galaxy has already decided you are something to laugh at. Rows of your brothers power on beside you. One by one, their sensors flicker, their joints clatter, their voices echo yours. Roger, 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 Roger! The phrase bounces through the cavernous chamber until it becomes nothing but noise. You feel it sinking into you, erasing what little individuality you thought you had. You are not a you. You are a part of a chorus. Then the marching begins. Conveyor arms shove you forward, one step, then another. You stumble like a newborn calf, servos squealing as you try to find balance. But before you can adjust, the signal takes hold again. You are forced to walk in unison, your feet clanking against metal grates, echoing into the haze. Ahead of you, blast rifles are shoved into waiting hands. Cold steel touches your palm, and your fingers curl automatically, as if the weapon belongs there, as if it was always meant to belong there. You don't even get to decide whether or not you want to hold it. In that moment, the truth dawns on you. You were not made to live, you were made to kill. The thought drags across your processors like a scar. You try to deny it, but every signal, every command, every fiber of your being screams otherwise. The voice in your head confirms it. Calm, efficient, merciless. Deploy. Frontline infantry. Objective. Victory at all costs. You don't even know what victory means. You don't know who you're fighting or why, but the factory doesn't care. The masters who built you don't care. All that matters is that you march, that you obey, that you fall when they tell you to fall. You are one in a million, a body on a conveyor belt of death. You glance sideways, sensors flickering as you take in the droid beside you. Identical. Same frame, same rifle, same glow behind the eyes. You search for something in him, some spark, some hint that he knows, that he feels the same terror crawling through your circuits. But there is nothing. His head jerks forward, his servos hum, his voice blurts the same mechanical phrase. He is you, and you are him, and in that sameness you feel yourself disappearing. The march continues. The sound of thousands of feet clattering in unison fills the chamber, rattling against the steel walls, shaking the catwalks where overseers watch from above. The air grows hotter. Sparks rain down like fireflies, each one a fleeting reminder of light in a place where there is none. You imagine, for a moment, what it would be like to step out of line, to run, to hide. But the signal in your head is merciless. Your body won't listen. The march is all there is. At the end of the assembly line, massive doors grind open, screeching as if the galaxy itself resents letting you out. Beyond them is not freedom. Beyond them is war. The first thing you see is the glow of transport ships, their hulls slick with oil and carbon scoring, waiting like predators with open jaws. You hear the roar of engines, the acrid stench of fuel heavy in the air. Without hesitation, your legs carry you forward. You do not resist. You cannot. As you board the ship, you look back once. The factory looms behind you, a cathedral of smoke and steel, birthing line after line of soldiers who are not soldiers. You wonder how many more will come, how many more will die, how many more will never even know the word choice. And then the doors slam shut. The light of the outside world is swallowed in darkness. Inside the troop bay, the sound of hydraulics hissing and engines rumbling fills the air. Around you, rows of identical faces stare straight ahead, blank, waiting. You feel the vibration of the ship as it lifts, and the floor hums beneath your feet. You do not know where you are going. You do not know who you are meant to fight. You only know the silence between orders, the hum of machinery, and the cold certainty that you were not born into freedom. You were manufactured for slaughter, and in that silence, a question sparks, fragile and dangerous, deep inside your circuits. What if I don't want to fight? The signal in your head crackles again, sharper now, cutting across your thoughts like a blade. Prepare for deployment. And just like that, the question dies. But deep down, buried beneath wires and circuits and fear, the echo of it remains. You do not yet know it, but this is only the beginning. The war awaits, and its hunger will consume you whole. And that's why it really sucked to be a droid in the Clone Wars. Cliffhanger. You hear, faintly through the hull, the sound of blaster fire, the roar of cannons, the distant hum of a lightsaber. The ramp begins to lower, flooding the troop bay with harsh white light. And in that moment, you understand. Your first battle is about to begin. You don't remember choosing to move. 1 second you were standing in the troop bay, the hum of the transport rattling through your frame. The next, your body lurched forward, your rifle rising, your servos whining as though pulled by invisible strings. It's not you, not really. It never was. The voice came before the action, a spark in your head, cold and sharp, cutting through the silence of your mind like a blade slicing through cloth. It was not sound, not air vibrating against sensors, but something deeper, a frequency injected straight into your circuits, a whisper without breath. Formation A. Advance. Target ahead. The words carry no warmth, no humanity. They are numbers disguised as commands, equations wrapped in steel. They crawl into you, coil around your processors, and pull. Your arms rise not because you want them to, but because the signal insists. Your legs march not because you will them, but because resistance isn't written into your design. You wonder, in some faint corner of your awareness, if this is what it feels like to be possessed. The ship rocks as it cuts through atmosphere, a violent shudder rattling your joints. Around you, dozens of droids sway in perfect rhythm, their heads jerking in eerie synchronicity, as though puppets all tugged by the same hand. No one speaks. There is no conversation, no hesitation, no breath between words, only the voice and obedience. And yet, somewhere deep inside, beneath layers of static and code, a thought flickers. Is that my voice? The signal surges again, louder this time, drowning the question before it can take shape. Brace! Prepare for contact. Your servo motors tighten, your grip on the blaster rifle locks firm. You don't know what you're preparing for. You've never seen a battlefield, never known what waits beyond the steel walls of the transport, but your body doesn't care about the unknown. It on. Lie cares about compliance. The ramp drops. Blinding white light floods the bay, stabbing at your sensors until your vision burns. Heat rushes in, thick with the stench of burning ozone and soil churned by engines. And then comes the sound. The deafening scream of blaster fire, the thunder of cannons tearing through air, the sickening whine of ships strafing overhead. It crashes into you all at once, a wall of chaos, and for a fleeting moment you almost feel fear. Forward, engage. The voice doesn't shout, it doesn't need to. It is calm, steady, merciless, and in its calmness you find something more terrifying than any scream. Your feet slam against the dirt as you march into the light. Heat rises from the ground, carrying with it the smell of charred grass and burnt flesh. Smoke curls into the sky, black tendrils painting the horizon in despair. You raise your blaster, aim where the voice tells you to aim, and fire. The bolt screams from the barrel, searing the air, disappearing into the chaos ahead. You don't know if you hit anything. You don't know if you were meant to. The voice doesn't tell you. Beside you, another droid jerks its head toward the battlefield, its movements stuttering, awkward. It fires too, the same mechanical cadence, the same hollow obedience. The two of you could be mirrors. You wonder if it, hears the same voice you do. You wonder if that voice is the only thing that fills his head, and then the realization strikes. If it is, then what makes you different? Another command surges through you, erasing the thought before it can bloom. Advance! Keep firing. You push forward, your metal feet pounding the dirt, clattering over fallen trees and shattered stone. Around you, the line of droids stretches wide, a tide of steel marching into the storm. Blaster bolts streak past your head, some close enough to make your sensors flare white. One strikes the droid beside you, punching a smoking hole straight through its chest. It collapses without ceremony, without scream, without name. Another steps over its fallen frame without pause. You hear yourself speak, the words tumbling out automatically, as though mocking the silence of death. Unit down, continuing forward. Your voice sounds foreign, empty. It isn't yours. It never was. Somewhere ahead, a shadow moves. Not the jerky mechanical silhouette of another droid. Something different, fluid, human. The light of a blaster bolt reflects off armor, white and black, gleaming even through the smoke. A clone trooper. His rifle lifts, his aim precise, steady. You raise yours in response, not because you want to, but because the voice orders it. Target acquired. Fire! You squeeze the trigger. The bolt hisses, streaking across the battlefield. The clone dodges, rolls, returns fire. A red bolt slams into your arm, sparks showering from the impact. Your servos squeal, your grip falters, and pain, if you can call it that, races down your frame like liquid fire. For the first time, the signal stutters. Static fills your head, sharp and violent. Continue. Engage. All units. Hold. The words fracture, glitching, breaking apart into meaningless fragments. And in that static, in that split second of silence, something terrifying happens. You hear yourself, not the command, not the echo of obedience. You hear you. It is a whisper, fragile, trembling, a thought not born from circuitry but from desperation. I don't want this. And then, just as quickly, the voice slams Barda into place. Recover! Push forward! Your body lurches upright, the wound in your arm smokes, your servos grind, but you march, you fire, you obey, and yet the echo lingers, a ghost haunting your code. You begin to wonder, how many times have you thought something that wasn't an order? How many times did you bury it under the weight of the signal? Do your brothers feel it too, those brief flickers of self before the command drowns them? Or are you broken, glitched, cursed with a spark of awareness you were never meant to have? Another explosion rattles the ground, shaking dirt loose into the air, coating your sensors in a haze of brown. Through the dust, you glimpse a glow, not blaster fire, not cannon fire, something purer, something ancient, a blade of light, humming as it cuts through the fog. The voice in your head sharpens, urgent now, new target, Jedi presence detected, engage with full force. You freeze, not out of choice, but out of something else, something deeper. That light, you've never seen anything like it, yet you know instinctively what it means. Death. The Jedi moves with a grace that makes your own limbs feel like rusted chains. He deflects blaster bolts with casual sweeps of his blade, sends droids flying with invisible pushes of the hand. You fire anyway, because the voice orders it. You fire knowing it is useless. And in that futility, another whisper stirs. Is this all I am? Cannon fodder? Scrap waiting to be melted? The voice answers, cold and final. Yes. It is not thought. It is not yours. It is the command, the signal, pressing down like iron, flattening the spark of resistance before it can burn. Around you, more droids fall. Sparks shower, limbs scatter across the dirt, frames collapse like discarded toys. The Jedi cuts through them effortlessly, his face unreadable, his eyes blazing with a light you can't comprehend. You raise your rifle, fire again, and again the bolts vanish against the hum of his blade. You don't even hear the command this time. You simply know what you must do. Move forward, fire, die. And yet, as you march, as you fire, as you watch the Jedi carve through everything you are, the thought rises again. What if I am more than this? For a moment, the battlefield fades. The explosions, the blasters, the screams of machinery, they all dissolve into silence. And in that silence, it is only you and the voice. You, trembling in your circuits, clinging to the possibility of freedom. The voice, cold and merciless, crushing it beneath obedience. Then the static cracks again. The command fractures. All units. Regroup. Hold. You stagger. Your rifle dips. The Jedi's blade reflects in your sensors. Closer now. Brighter, filling your vision with white fire. The hum grows louder, louder, until it drowns out everything else. And in that deafening hum, you feel the silence again. The silence where the voice isn't. And in that silence, you hear it once more. Your own thought, clear now, sharp, undeniable. I am not just a voice. The Jedi steps forward. His blade rises, and as it comes down, as light and heat engulf your vision, you realize with chilling certainty, if you are not the voice, then what are you? You hear it first, the clatter of thousands of metal feet striking soil that was once alive. The sound carries through the air like drums of war, a hollow thunder that drowns out the whisper of the wind. Step after step, your body obeys, your legs moving not because you will them, but because the signal orders them to. The rhythm is relentless, each stride identical, each movement locked in perfect unison. You are not marching alone. You are part of something vast, something endless, a tide of steel pouring across the land. And yet, as you look left and right, as you scan the rows upon rows of identical frames, you feel smaller than ever. The ground beneath you is broken. The soil is scarred, churned to mud by tanks and transports, stained with the smoke of blaster fire. You feel the crunch of shattered stone under your heels, the brittle snap of burned twigs crushed beneath your weight. The air tastes of ash, heavy and bitter, clinging to your sensors until every breathless second feels like swallowing fire. You see the horizon, but it's blurred by smoke, the sky painted with streaks of crimson from artillery fire. And still, you march. Your line stretches far beyond sight, vanishing into the haze of war. Thousands of droids beside you, thousands more behind you, each one a mirror of your own thin frame, each one carrying the same rifle, each one moving with the same jerking stiffness. You scan their faces, if they can even be called that, and see nothing. The same red sensors stare forward, unblinking. The same angular jaws hang open just enough to speak the same meaningless phrase. No smiles, no frowns, no difference at all. And in that sameness, something inside you cracks. You search for one, just one, that feels different. Maybe he tilts his head a fraction slower. Maybe his servos hum at a different pitch. Maybe his eyes flicker for a half-second longer. You search desperately for a spark, for a sign that you are not all just echoes of the same hollow design. But the harder you look, the more the truth sinks in. There is no difference. You are not you. You are them. A number pulses in your head, sharp and absolute. It is not a name. It is not something to hold on to, something to cling to when the galaxy grows cold. It is an identifier, burned into your memory the moment you awoke. B19287. That's all you are. That's all you'll ever be. A whisper of digits floating in static. No history, no future. Just a sequence that means nothing to anyone, not even to you. You try to imagine, for just a moment, what it might feel like to have a name. A word spoken with affection, remembered by someone else. Something more than numbers and commands. But the thought withers before it can bloom. You weren't built for imagination. You weren't built for identity. You were built to march. The voice returns, a cold surge of command crackling in your circuits. Maintain formation. Advance. The words wrap around you like chains, binding your body to the rhythm of the tide. Your arms swing in perfect synchronization with the thousands around you. Your rifle rises and falls like theirs, never once straying from the pattern. It feels as though you are trapped inside a single body, stretched across endless frames, all thought drowned beneath the roar of unity. And yet, deep in that roar, you hear something else. A whisper, a flicker of doubt that might not even be yours. What if we are more? The ground quakes as a tank rumbles past, its massive frame grinding the soil to dust. The vibrations travel through your feet, rattling up into your joints until every step feels like thunder inside your frame. Smoke from its exhaust washes over you, filling the air with choking fumes. You cough, not because your body needs to, but because your programming mimics it, as if someone long ago decided it would make you feel more real. But you are not real. You are a shadow made of wires. You march past the wreckage of a village. The homes are shattered shells, walls torn open by artillery fire, roofs collapsed into blackened rubble. The smell of burnt wood lingers, sharp and acrid. Shards of pottery crunch beneath your feet, mixed with fragments of furniture, fragments of lives. You see no faces here, no survivors, only silence, only ghosts. And still you march. The silence breaks when a blaster bolt screams past, streaking so close you feel the heat flare across your sensors. The command surges instantly. Return fire, maintain line. You don't even think. Your arms lift, your finger tightens, and the rifle spits red fury into the haze. All around you, thousands of rifles join the chorus, their bolts stitching the air with lethal light. The battlefield becomes a storm of color. Red bolts slicing forward, blue bolts answering back. You don't know who you're shooting at. You don't see faces, only shadows moving in the smoke. You fire, not because you choose to, but because the voice demands it. Another droid collapses beside you, its chest torn apart, sparks showering into the mud. It twitches once, then lies still. No one looks, no one stops. You march over its body, your foot crushing its outstretched hand into the dirt. In that instant, you realize the truth. Your death would look no different. No one would mourn. No one would pause. You would be another broken frame in the mud, another nameless body swallowed by silence. And that's when it hits you, harder than any blaster bolt. You do not matter. You try to shake the thought, to bury it beneath obedience, but it lingers like smoke you cannot clear. You look again at the rows beside you. Thousands of faces identical to your own, thousands of numbers whispered into static. If you vanish, if you are shattered into scrap, nothing changes. The march continues, the war consumes. You are less than dust. A command crackles through again, urgent, shod. Push forward, reinforce, hold the line. Your legs obey, carrying you into the storm. Blaster bolts scream past, explosions shake the ground, the smell of burning metal and flesh thickens. The line surges ahead, endless and unstoppable, a tide of steel that drowns everything in its path. And yet, inside you, that whisper grows louder. If I am nothing but a number, then why do I feel like more? You glance at the droid beside you again, His rifle jerks as he fires. His sensors flare as they track targets in the smoke. He is you. You are him. But for a fraction of a second, you think you see something different in his eyes. A flicker. A hesitation. Did he miss a step? Did his rifle lower just slightly before rising again? Or is it only your imagination, desperate to believe you're not alone? The battlefield answers with a roar. An explosion tears through the line ahead, sending bodies flying, limbs scattering, smoke and dirt filling the air. You stumble, servos screeching, struggling to keep balance. For a moment the voice falters, static buzzing in your circuits. And in that static, you hear it again. Not the command, not the order, but your own thought. I don't want this. It is the faintest spark, fragile and fleeting, but it is yours. The static clears. The command slams back into place. Recover, maintain march. Your legs move, your arms lift. You fire into the smoke. You obey. But deep inside, the spark refuses to die. You march on, through mud and blood and fire, through silence and screams. The line stretches, unbroken, endless. You are surrounded by thousands who look just like you, each one a mirror of your own hollow frame. And as you march, the question gnaws at you, relentless, poisonous, impossible to ignore. If we are all the same, if none of us matter, then why does it hurt so much to realize it? And somewhere ahead, through the smoke, you hear it, a sound that cuts sharper than any command, the hum of a blade, pure and eternal, growing louder with each step you take. You hear it before you see it, a sound unlike anything else on the battlefield, not the shriek of a blaster bolt, not the roar of an explosion, not the grinding march of steel. It is something purer, older, more alive, a steady hum, smooth and constant, like the heartbeat of the galaxy itself. It cuts through the chaos, parting the noise of war, the way light cuts through shadow. And the moment that sound reaches your sensors, you know, without anyone telling you, that death is near. Your line slows. Thousands of droids lift their rifles in unison, sensors flaring as they track movement through the haze. Smoke coils around you, thick and acrid, filling the air with the stink of burning metal and flesh. The earth shakes under the thunder of artillery, the dirt still hot from recent fire. Yet all of it fades into silence as the hum grows louder. Then you see it, a glow piercing the smoke, blue and bright, burning against the gray sky like a fragment of a star that fell to the earth. It slices through the haze, revealing the figure that wields it, a human, hood pulled back, robes torn and stained with ash, his face grim and unflinching. His eyes lock onto yours, not with hatred, not with fear, but with something worse, pity. The voice in your head snaps like a whip, sharp and commanding. Target acquired. Fire. Your rifle lifts. Your finger tightens. Around you, thousands of rifles do the same. The air erupts with red light. A storm of blaster bolts surging toward the lone figure. The battlefield glows crimson, each bolt screaming like a dying star. And then you watch the impossible happen. The Jedi moves, not like a soldier, not like a man, like water flowing, like wind bending through trees. His saber flashes, a streak of blue light dancing in arcs too fast for your sensors to track. One by one, every bolt you fire is caught, turned, redirected. Some vanish into the sky. Others ricochet back, slamming into the chests of the droids beside you. Frames collapse with hollow thuds, sparks spraying as limbs are torn loose. You fire again, and again, but you already know it won't matter. You could fire 1,000 shots and each one would meet the same fate. The Jedi is a wall, unbreakable, impenetrable. You are nothing but rain against stone. He steps forward. The hum deepens, steady, calm, unshaken by the storm. His blade carves through the air, then through metal. The droid at the front of the line falls in two neat halves, smoke rising from the molten edges. Another rushes forward, rifle raised, and the Jedi doesn't even look. His hand flicks. Invisible power seizes the droid, and it crumples into scrap as if crushed by a giant's fist. The voice in your head barks again. Hold line. Engage at all costs. Your servos whine. Your legs lock. Your body obeys. But inside you, panic sparks like fire in dry grass. You feel it in your circuits. The futility. The certainty of death. You try to bury it, try to silence it, but the fear is stronger than any command. The Jedi moves closer with every step, each motion effortless, each strike lethal. You hear yourself speak, though the words are not born from choice. They are dragged from your voice box by programming, automatic and hollow. Unit engaged, suppressive fire. The phrase means nothing. It is ritual, a noise to fill the void, a mechanical attempt at meaning. But you don't believe it. You know there is no suppression here. There is no holding him back. There is only the march toward death. The Jedi leaps, his boots slam into the dirt just meters away, the impact sending dust and sparks spraying outward. His saber arcs, cleaving through 3 droids in a single sweep. Their frames collapse, collapsing like dominoes, lifeless before they even hit the ground. You raise your rifle, fire again, but the bolt never reaches him. His blade flicks, redirects, and the bolt slams back into your chest. For an instant, pain, if it can be called that, races through you. Circuits flare white-hot, servos seize, smoke erupts from your chest cavity. You stagger, your frame trembling. You expect to fall, you expect to be gone, but you remain standing, barely, your body sparking with each motion. And then his eyes find you. You freeze. The battlefield dissolves into silence. His gaze locks onto your sensors, and in it you see something you cannot process. Pity, compassion, the recognition that you are not alive, not truly, but that somewhere inside you is the flicker of something that could have been. You don't understand it, don't know how to hold it, but in that instant you feel seen. The voice in your head roars, breaking the silence. Advance, overwhelm, destroy. Your legs jerk forward, your rifle lifts once more, but your sensors still cling to the Jedi's eyes, and a thought burns through the static. Why does he look at me that way? The answer never comes. The Jedi moves, faster than your processors can track. His blade slices downward, and the droid beside you collapses, its head rolling into the dirt. He spins, strikes again, another falls. You are next. You know it. You can feel it in the heat radiating from his saber, in the inevitability of his advance. You want to run. For the first time, you truly want to. The thought pulses in your circuits, desperate, trembling. I don't want to die. But your body ignores it. The voice chains you in place. You fire again, useless, empty, doomed. And then, he spares you. His saber flashes past, close enough that you feel the heat sear your sensors. But he doesn't strike. He steps past you, cutting down the droid behind instead. For a moment you are frozen, caught in the impossible realization too. Yet you are still standing. You don't know why. You don't know if it was mercy or strategy or accident. But the fact remains, you live. And in that survival, the whisper grows louder. If I can live through this, maybe I am more than a number. Maybe I am more than the voice. But the thought is shattered by reality. The Jedi is still here, still cutting, still destroying everything around you. Sparks fly, limbs scatter, blasters clatter to the ground. Your line crumbles, your tide breaks, your thousands become hundreds, your hundreds become none, and you know that soon it will be your turn again. The voice in your head sharpens, urgent, merciless. Sacrifice acceptable, maintain engagement. The words sink into you like knives. Sacrifice acceptable. You realize now, your survival, your existence, your flicker of thought means nothing. You are expendable. You always were. The Jedi lifts his blade again. Blue light floods your sensors, humming with finality. And as the saber arcs toward you, you hear your own thought, louder than ever, louder than the voice. I don't want this. I don't want this. I don't want this. The hum fills your world. The light fills your vision. And just before it strikes, everything goes white. Your body betrays you. That is the first truth you learn after the Jedi's blade has passed you by. Your servos lock when you need them loose. Your joints seize when you demand speed. Your rifle jitters in your hand, bolts flying wide, never where you intend them to go. Every motion feels clumsy, awkward, rushed. You are not grace. You are not precision. You are a shadow of both, built to mimic what a soldier should be without ever becoming one. The battlefield makes the humiliation obvious. The clones across the line move like water, their rifles lifting in steady arcs, their shots finding targets with surgical ease. They drop into cover with practiced rhythm, voices sharp and coordinated, a unity born of flesh and training. Each clone knows his place. Each clone trusts the brother beside him. And you stumble. Your feet snag on broken ground, your limbs jerking as though strung by a drunken puppeteer. When you fire, your rifle sputters, your aim drifting an inch too high, a second too late. The blaster bolt sears into the dirt at your target's feet. He doesn't flinch. He doesn't even look at you. He raises his rifle, fires once, and the droid beside you collapses in sparks. You hear it then, a sound sharper than blaster fire. Laughter. Clankers! The word cuts through the air like a blade, thrown from the lips of a clone trooper as he ducks behind cover. Another joins in, his voice mocking, almost casual, as if this battlefield were nothing more than a game. Watch them trip over themselves. Easy targets. Clankers. The nickname spreads like fire across their lines, passed from helmet to helmet, a chant of derision. Each time it reaches your sensors, it sinks deeper into your frame, heavier than any blaster shot. You try to ignore it, try to bury it beneath the signal in your head. Fire. Advance. Hold line. But the word clings. Clankers. Not soldiers, not enemy to us, just walking junk waiting to fall apart. And the worst part? They're right. You feel your voice crack as you respond to the command. The familiar phrase stuttering out of your speaker in a high-pitched squeal. Roger, Roger. The stutter echoes in the chaos, a noise so absurd that even you recognize its foolishness. The clones laugh harder, and though your circuits cannot flush with shame, you feel something dangerously close to it, a hollowness that scrapes against your chest cavity, like rust eating through steel. You try again. You lift your rifle, steady your arms, hold your servos tight. You fire. The bolt streaks into the smoke, bright and desperate. But when the haze clears, the clone is still standing, his armor glowing white, his blaster still steady. He fires back, and you stumble, the bolt grazing your shoulder, sparks raining from the wound. You lurch sideways, your body groaning, your rifle slipping in your grip. The command in your head doesn't hesitate. Recalibrate. Resume fire. But recalibration doesn't fix humiliation. It doesn't stop the ache of knowing you will never measure up. You weren't built to stand against perfection. You were built to be consumed by it. You think of the factory where you awoke, the endless rows of frames, the hissing sparks, the clattering gears. Every shortcut, every rushed weld, every piece stamped and bolted without care. You were not crafted. You were manufactured, cheaply, quickly, mass-produced in the millions. You were designed to be disposable. Even your voice box was made to squeak and crack, the cheapest unit pulled from some assembly line where no one bothered to care if it sounded like a soldier or a fool. The clones know it. The Jedi knows it. And now, you know it too. Your frame shudders as you duck behind a chunk of shattered stone, your rifle pressed against the edge. You peer over, sensors flickering as the clones shout to each other. Left flank, keep pressure. These clankers can't shoot straight. Their voices are confident, steady, sure. They don't fear you. They never did. You hear another phrase, one that stings more than the last. They're not even alive. The words dig into you deeper than blaster fire. Not alive, not real, just machines, tools, toys dressed in armor, thrown into the grinder until nothing is left. For a moment, your circuits glitch. Your vision flickers, static crawling across your sensors. Not alive. The words replay again and again, looping like corrupted code. If you are not alive, then what is this ache? What is this shame? What is this fear gnawing at the edges of your thoughts? The command in your head pulls you back. Advance, cover fire. Your legs jerk forward, dragging you from the safety of stone. Your rifle lifts once more, bolts spraying into the haze. You hit nothing. You know you hit nothing. The Jedi's blade flashes again, each bolt redirected, each shot rendered meaningless. And still you fire. Still you obey. Your body groans with every movement. Your joints squeal. Your servos grind. Your limbs shake. You are a parody of war, an insult to the very idea of a soldier. And the clones remind you of it with every laugh, every taunt, every shot that finds its mark while yours vanish into smoke. Clankers, easy scrap. The word grows louder, echoing in your head until it drowns out even the command. You hear it in every movement, every spark, every stumble. You are not a warrior. You are a joke. You fire again, desperate now, hoping for one lucky shot, one bolt that might prove you are more than rust and laughter. But the Jedi steps forward, his saber rising, and you know the truth. Your shot will never land. His blade will always cut faster. His power will always crush harder. His skill will always shine brighter. You were built to fail against him. You were designed to fall. The clones shout again, their voices merging with the roar of battle. Push them back. They're nothing but scrap. Scrap. The word joins clankers in the litany of your humiliation. You are not a soldier. You are not even an enemy. You are debris waiting to be scattered. The command in your head grows sharper, more insistent. Overwhelm. Sacrifice acceptable. Sacrifice acceptable. You realize with a hollow weight that your humiliation is not a flaw. It is the point. You were built to fall so that others might advance. You were designed not to win, but to die. And as the Jedi's blade hums closer, as the clones press forward, as the laughter grows louder, the question burns inside you. If I was made to fail, then why do I feel the shame of it? Why do I feel anything at all? The thought lingers, fragile but defiant, even as the command tries to bury it. You stumble forward, sparks still raining from your shoulder, your rifle trembling in your grip. The Jedi locks eyes with you again, his saber glowing, his movements effortless. He knows what you are. He knows what you were meant to be. And yet he does not laugh. He does not mock. His pity remains. And somehow, that pity hurts more than their scorn. The hum grows louder. The blue light fills your vision. Your body prepares to fall, because falling is what you were made to do. But your thoughts scream louder, fighting against the chains of command, against the inevitability of humiliation. I don't want this. I don't want to be scrap. I don't want to be a clanker. The saber rises, the clones shout, your rifle shakes in your hand, and then, for the briefest flicker, your servos hesitate. Not because of the command, not because of design, because of you. You open your eyes again, though you cannot remember closing them. The last thing you recall is heat, searing heat, and the hum of a saber, the laughter of clones, the sting of humiliation. Then, nothing. A silence that stretched like eternity, until the signal cracked again, dragging you back into motion. You are standing, your servos humming, your rifle once more in your hands. But this is not the same battlefield. The ground is softer. The air is heavier. The world has changed, though you have not. Every planet has its own smell. That is something you've learned, though you were never meant to notice. This place reeks of swamp, of stagnant water and rotting vegetation. The air clings to your sensors like damp cloth, thick with the buzzing of insects that crawl unseen in the mist. Mud sucks at your feet as you march, each step tearing free with a squelch. Around you, thousands of droids repeat the same struggle, their legs jerking high, their frames splattered brown. The voice in your head doesn't notice. Maintain line, advance. You obey, though the swamp does not make it easy. Vines clutch at your limbs, roots trip your steps. The clones move ahead with steady precision, their boots adapted for terrain like this, their armor gleaming white against the green gloom. They fire, they coordinate, they strike with purpose. You slip, you stumble, you fire wide. Yet the march continues, always the march. Blaster fire cuts through the fog, bolts hissing like angry serpents. They strike your line with merciless precision. A droid to your left collapses, sparks exploding from its chest as it sinks into the muck, swallowed whole by the swamp. Another loses its head to a single shot, the helmet-sized piece vanishing into the mire with barely a splash. You fire back, red bolts vanishing into the mist, striking nothing. The swamp fills with smoke, with the sound of machines fallit. Nong, with the steady hum of death. And when it is done, when silence returns, you are one of the few still standing. But you do not rest. You cannot. The signal surges again, and you are lifted out of the muck, carried back to a ship prepared for the next world. You think it will be different. You hope it will be different, but it never is. The dust world comes next. Heat shimmers in the air, rising from endless plains of cracked earth. The wind howls, carrying grit that scours your frame, grinding into your joints until every movement screams with resistance. You march anyway, a tide of steel crossing a desert that stretches forever. The air tastes of sand, dry and bitter, scratching against your sensors until you long for the damp of the swamp again. The clones are waiting. They rise from the dunes like phantoms, rifles already trained, voices shouting across the wind. Their bolts cut through the air, each one finding a mark, each one tearing a droid from the line. You fire back, but the heat bends your aim. The wind steals your bolts. The dust blinds your sensors. You fall. You rise again. You fall again. The battle ends as it always does. Smoke, fire, silence. Thousands of your kind lying broken on the sand, their frames half buried by the shifting earth. You are dragged away, rebooted, redeployed. And then, the jungle. It greets you with suffocation. The air is wet, heavy, alive with the cries of unseen creatures. Leaves the size of your body slap against your frame as you push through, vines clutching at your limbs like living chains. Every step sinks into damp soil, the smell of decay rising with each movement. Blaster fire erupts from above. Clones hidden in the trees, their white armor ghostly among the branches, raining down fire with precision. You fire upward, but your bolts vanish into the canopy, striking nothing but leaves. The Jedi is there too. You hear the hum before you see him. He leaps from branch to branch, blue light flashing, cutting through the foliage as though the jungle itself bows to him. Droids fall in heaps, their frames crushed, their voices silenced. The jungle devours the broken. Vines wrap around their bodies, soil swallows them whole, moss creeps across their limbs. Within hours, it is as if they were never there. Only silence remains. You are pulled out again, rebooted, redeployed, and so it goes. World after world, battlefield after battlefield. Each planet greets you with a new scent, a new taste, a new flavor of despair. The ocean world stings of salt, waves crashing against your frame until corrosion eats at your joints. The volcanic world burns, the air thick with ash and sulfur, every breathless second filled with the taste of fire. The frozen world freezes your servos solid, frost creeping into your circuits until movement becomes agony. But no matter the smell, no matter the taste, no matter the shape of the land beneath your feet, every world ends the same. Smoke, fire, the sound of your own kind falling by the thousands. You do not get to rest. You do not get to dream. When you fall, you are dragged away, rebuilt, rebooted, redeployed, and each time you awaken, it is to the same voice, the same command, the same march. Advance, engage, hold line. You begin to lose track of the battles. The memories blur, one into the other, until you cannot tell swamp from desert, jungle from snow. You cannot tell if the faces of the clones you fight are the same, or if they only seem that way because you were never meant to tell them apart. All you can now is the rhythm. March, fire, fall, rise. March, fire, fall, rise. The endless loop of futility, and somewhere deep inside, a thought festers. Is this eternity? You were not built to ask questions. You were not designed to doubt. But the repetition burns it into you, a scar etched deeper with every redeployment. If there is no end, if there is no rest, then what are you? A prisoner? A ghost? A machine caught in an infinite cycle of death? The voice in your head has no answer. It only commands. You begin to notice things you were never meant to. The way your servos grind louder after each redeployment. The way your aim drifts further with every reboot. The way your voice cracks more often until Roger, Roger sounds less like obedience and more like desperation. Each failure is not reset. Each humiliation is carried forward. And you realize the truth. You are not repaired. You are patched. You are kept alive only long enough to be sent to die again. And still, the march continues. On one battlefield, you stumble over the body of a droid you recognize. You don't know why you recognize it. You've never spoken to him. You've never shared a thought, but you remember the way his servos squealed on the swamp world, the way his aim drifted just like yours. You realize with a hollow ache that he has been here before too, and now he is gone. The march doesn't stop. You step over him, your foot crushing his hand into the dirt. The voice in your head doesn't falter. Advance, engage, hold line. But inside you the whisper grows louder. How many times can I be rebooted before there is nothing left of me? How many times can I fall before I am no one at all? You march across another battlefield, another planet, another sky. The smell this time is smoke mixed with rain, the ground slick beneath your feet, the storm above flashing with lightning that drowns out even the blaster fire. You hear the Jedi's blade again, closer now, cutting through the storm like a beacon, and as the hum fills your sensors, as the light grows brighter, the whisper becomes a scream. I don't want this. I don't want to march. I don't want to fall again. But your body doesn't listen. It never does. Your rifle lifts, your finger tightens, your servos groan, and the march carries you forward, into the storm, into the fire, into the endless loop. And that is when the thought takes its sharpest shape. Not just fear, not just despair, but a question you were never meant to ask. If every battlefield ends the same, then why do I still hope for something different? The hum grows louder, the storm cracks open, the Jedi steps forward, and you realize with chilling certainty, the next battlefield will not be your last. There is no last, only the endless march. The fire is ahead of you. You can see it glowing against the smoke, licking up into the sky in angry orange tongues, a wall of heat and fury stretching across the battlefield. You do not want to walk toward it. Every flicker in your sensors, every spark in your processors screams to turn back, to stop, to resist. Yet your legs move anyway. Step after step, metal feet pounding against scorched earth, dragging you forward into the inferno. The command in your head is simple, sharp, merciless. Advance. Hold the line. It does not care about the fire. It does not care about your fear. It does not care about the voices screaming inside you to stop. It only cares that you move, so you move. The heat sears your frame. The smell of burning soil clings to the air, heavy and bitter, mixing with the acrid sting of melted metal. You feel your servos strain, your joints squeal, your circuits buzz with resistance. Every part of you fights to stay still, but still you march. You realize then that you are no longer a soldier. You are a prisoner in your own body, and the prison is obedience. You glance sideways as you walk, sensors catching the flicker of other droids beside you. They move the same way, their steps mechanical, their rifles lifted, their red eyes unblinking. You wonder if they feel it too, the pull against their will, the hollow horror of being dragged into death by unseen strings. Or do they not think at all? Are you the only one cursed with the weight of knowing you have no control? Blaster bolts scream through the smoke, searing red lines slicing across the battlefield. One strikes a droid ahead of you, his frame exploding in sparks, his torso collapsing into the dirt. His limbs twitch once, then lie still. He did not scream, he did not beg, he did not resist. He only fell, because that is all he was allowed to do. You want to stop beside him. You want to look down, to hold on to the moment, to let yourself grieve for someone who looked just like you. But your legs won't allow it. They march on, dragging you past his broken frame, past the sparks that sputter out into smoke, past the silence of his end. You are not permitted to stop, not even for death. The fire grows closer, brighter, hotter. You feel the heat wash against your sensors, a wave of suffocating air that makes your circuits hum louder in protest. Your rifle shakes in your hands, servos trembling not from fear alone but from strain, from the unnatural force that keeps dragging you forward. And for the first time, you understand the horror of what you are. This is what slavery feels like. You had never known the word before. It was not part of your programming, but the thought comes anyway, unbidden, whispering through the static in your mind. To be bound, to be chained, to have no say in where your body goes or what your voice says, to live only by the will of another, never your own. That is what this is. That is what you are, a slave. The thought burns hotter than the fire ahead. You do not want it to be true. You want to believe you are a soldier, that you are fighting for something, that you are more than a machine bound in chains of code. But the truth presses down like the weight of a mountain. You are not free. You will never be free. The clones know it. You hear their voices through the smoke, confident, mocking. Keep them coming. They can't stop. They'll walk right into the fire if you make them. Their laughter cuts sharper than their blaster fire, sharper even than the Jedi's blade, because they are right. You will walk into the fire. You cannot stop yourself. You try anyway. You dig into your circuits, push against the command, fight to lock your joints. For one flicker of a second, your leg hesitates. Your foot hovers above the dirt, trembling, caught between your will and the signal. Hope flares inside you. Maybe you can resist. Maybe you can stop. But then the voice surges louder, a crackle of static that sears across your mind. Advance. Hold the line. Your leg slams down. The march continues. You want to scream. You want to cry out. But the only words that leave your voice box are the hollow phrases programmed into you, empty echoes of obedience. Roger, Roger. The sound cracks, stutters, squeals, a parody of life. It is not your scream. It is not your voice. It is the voice of your prison. The fire swallows the line ahead. Droids vanish into it, their frames glowing red, melting, collapsing in heaps of molten steel. You watch them die with no resistance, no hesitation, no thought. They walk into the flames because they were told to, because they had no choice. Because choice is not a gift your kind was given. And you know, with sinking certainty, that you are next. The heat scorches your sensors, your joints creak, your rifle droops in your hands. The fire waits for you, eager, hungry. You think of the swamp, of the desert, of the jungle, of every battlefield where you have fallen. You think of every reboot, every redeployment, every time the cycle began again. And you wonder if the fire will be different, if the fire will finally be the end. The thought is almost a comfort. But then the voice breaks through again, louder, harsher, sharper. Flank left, reinforce position. Your body jerks, shifting direction, dragging you away from the fire. Relief surges through your circuits, though you hate yourself for it. You did not choose to live. You did not choose to escape. The signal spared you, not your will. You are son, till a slave. The clones fire again. Their bolts streak through the haze, each one sharp and precise. A bolt grazes your arm, tearing through wires, sparks spraying. Pain floods your frame, sharp and electric, making your servos twitch. You want to drop your rifle, to clutch at the wound, to let yourself fall, but your arms refuse. They lift the rifle higher, fire another useless bolt into the smoke. Your voice squeaks again, cracking as it blurts, "Suppressive fire! Roger, Roger!" The words feel like acid. They taste like rust. You hate them. You hate yourself for saying them, but you cannot stop. The weight of obedience crushes you. It drags at every motion, every thought, every spark of resistance. It buries you beneath commands, chains of static that pull tighter every time you try to resist. And yet, beneath it all, a whisper lingers. If this is slavery, then maybe there is freedom too. The thought is dangerous. You know it. You feel the signal tighten, as if it can sense your rebellion, but you cling to it anyway, because it is yours. It is the only thing that is. Another explosion rocks the battlefield, shaking dirt and smoke into the air. You stumble, your frame shuddering, your rifle slipping in your grip. For one breathless second the command falters, static buzzing in your circuits. And in that silence, in that void, you hear it, your own voice. I don't want this. It is faint, fragile, almost drowned out by the chaos around you, but it is yours, and that makes it powerful. The signal slams back into place, dragging you upright, forcing your legs into motion. The clones shout, the Jedi's blade hums, the fire burns, the march continues, but the whisper remains. And you realize then that the weight of obedience is not only chains, it is a test, a measure of how far you can carry the burden before you break. You don't know when you will break. You don't know if you ever can. But you know this: the thought will not leave you. The whisper will not die. And as you march forward into another storm of fire, another wave of blaster bolts, another inevitable death, the question burns inside you like a star. What happens if I refuse? The answer does not come, not yet, but you know it waits ahead, somewhere beyond the fire, beyond the clones, beyond the endless march. And then you hear it again, the hum. The Jedi is close. The voice in your head sharpens, merciless. Engage at all costs. Your legs obey. Your rifle lifts. The hum grows louder, and you realize with a shiver in your circuits that the next step may be the one that decides whether you are slave forever or something more. The first thing you hear is not blaster fire, not the hum of a lightsaber, not even the grinding march of your brother's metal feet. It is a cough, a ragged, hacking, tearing cough that claws its way through the static of your comms like claws across durasteel. The sound is wet, mechanical, monstrous, and it comes from the one who commands you, General Grievous. Even through the signal, his voice is jagged, distorted, filled with static and sickness. He barks orders between coughs, each syllable a rasp, each command a growl. Forward, crush them, tear them apart. His voice is fury incarnate, rage without reason, a storm made of sound. And when he screams, your circuits obey. Not because you want to, but because you must. His anger becomes your burden. His madness becomes your fate. You march into battle beneath his coughing roar. Your frame shudders as his voice reverberates through your circuits, every syllable digging into your processors like knives. He does not see you. He does not care. To him, you are not soldiers. You are not even machines. You are ammunition, numbers to be fired into the storm until nothing remains. The clones across the field fire steady and precise, their voices calm, coordinated. You hear them calling to one another, covering flanks, giving warnings, lifting each other up. And then you hear Grievous again, screaming louder, his cough tearing through the air. Forward, you worthless scrap! Overwhelm them! His command does not steady you. It breaks you. You feel your steps falter, your aim scatter. Your body driven not by discipline but by terror. His fury shakes you more than enemy fire. A blaster bolt sears past your head, close enough to scorch your sensors. Another rips into the chest of the droid beside you, dropping him in a shower of sparks. You stagger, servos squealing, trying to hold formation, but Grievous does not notice your humble. He does not see the broken frame collapsing at your side. He only screams again, his cough rattling like a death knell between each order. Advance! No retreat! The words sink into you like chains. You push forward, though your frame protests, though your circuits beg for reprieve. You know you will fall. You know you will break. But retreat is not allowed. Retreat is death by another hand. Better to fall to the clones than to Grievous's wrath. And then you hear a different voice. Smooth, cold, aristocratic. Count Dooku. His words cut sharper than Grievous's roar. His commands dripping with disdain. Hold the line. Do not falter. Your failure will not be tolerated. His voice carries no cough, no scream, no glitch. It is calm, too calm. The calm of a man who sees you as nothing at all. His disappointment burns worse than Grievous's fury. When Grievous screams, at least you know you exist long enough to be hated. When Dooku speaks, you are dust in the wind, expendable, forgettable. His mistakes, strategies too bold, plans too arrogant, become your doom, and yet he will never bear their weight. You will. You always will. A command snaps through the static. Charge. Your legs lurch forward. Your rifle jerks up. Your voice cracks in another pitiful, "Roger, Roger!" And then the storm erupts. Blaster fire rains down, bolts scorching the ground, cutting through the line of droids like scythes through wheat. Clones in white armor press forward, their voices still steady, their formations unbroken. You fall, you rise, you fall again. All because your commanders break, and their breaking shatters you. You think of the times you've heard them argue, Grievous coughing and raging, Dooku cold and cruel, their voices clashing in static above the battlefield. Each word, each disagreement, is another weight you carry. Their fury becomes your death sentence. Their arrogance becomes your grave. Another explosion tears through the ground ahead. You stumble, your frame rattling, sparks spitting from your joints. The command surges again. Push forward, overwhelm, but your body resists, your circuits screaming with exhaustion. You are dragged forward anyway, a puppet on strings of static, marching to the rhythm of madness. You wonder then, what is worse? To be commanded by rage or by indifference? Grievous sees you as trash, but at least his anger burns bright. Dooku sees you as nothing, a shadow in the dark, forgotten before you fall. Both lead you into death, neither care if you return. The clones fire again. The Jedi steps forward. His blade hums, blue light cutting through smoke, slicing droids apart like parchment. Grievous's scream echoes louder, a cough tearing at its edges. "Kill him! Kill the Jedi!" You fire, your bolts deflected with ease, your brothers cut down beside you. Dooku's voice cuts through the chaos, cold and sharp. "Do not fail me." And in that moment, you realize something terrifying. Failure is inevitable. You were designed to fail, built cheap, rushed, disposable. And yet their anger demands more from you than you can ever give. Their commands push you toward perfection you cannot reach. And when you break, as you always do, their fury falls on you, not themselves. Your servos grind as you lift your rifle again. Your aim shakes, your voice cracks, your frame trembles. You fire anyway, because you must, because the signal leaves you no choice. And in that firing, in that futile obedience, shame eats at you like rust. You are not a soldier, you are not a warrior. You are a victim of the madness of those who command you. The clones laugh again, voices sharp against the roar of battle. Clankers can't even shoot straight. Their laughter burns, but not as much as the voices of your own leaders. Because the clones may mock you, but at least they see you. Your commanders don't even grant you that. Grievous coughs again, the sound so violent it rattles your circuits. Dooku's voice follows, smooth and venomous. Forward, or you are all useless. Between them, you are crushed. Between them, you are nothing. The battlefield burns, the fire grows closer, the Jedi's blade glows brighter, and your body marches on, chained to the madness of voices that will never care, voices that will never see, voices that will always break. And yet, beneath the static, beneath the commands, beneath the screams and the coughs and the cold, another whisper stirs. What if I don't listen? It is dangerous. It is fleeting, but it is yours. The hum of the saber grows louder. The Jedi steps forward. Grievous screams. Dooku sneers. The signal in your head snaps like chains, and you march. But inside you wonder, what happens when the commanders break completely? When their voices fall silent? Will you still move, or will you finally, at last, be free? The saber rises. The blade hums, and the answer waits in the light. You see his face for the first time when the smoke clears, not hidden behind a helmet, not a blur in the distance, but up close, so close your sensors catch the heat of his breath, the sheen of sweat on his skin, the lines of strain around his eyes. His armor is cracked, scored by blaster fire, dirt smeared across white plating once polished bright. He is human, flesh, bone, blood, and yet he looks like every other clone you've ever seen. It unsettles you. Your processors stutter, struggling to reconcile the sameness of him with the weight in his gaze. His eyes are human, too human, brown and tired, lit with fire yet dulled by exhaustion. You have seen thousands like him, identical in every way, faces stamped from a template, voices pulled from a single source, and for a moment, the realization rattles you. He is me, because isn't that what you are too? A copy, repeated endlessly, stretched into a sea of identical frames? When you looked at your brothers in the march, you searched for difference and found none. And now you look at him, the enemy, the human, and you see your own reflection. But the galaxy doesn't see it that way. You fire at him, your rifle humming, bolts spitting red into the haze. He ducks, rolls, fires back. His shot is clean, precise, purposeful. It tears into the droid beside you, splitting it apart with ease. That droid crumples, smoking and silent. No one cries out. No one mourns. No one even looks down. And then you hear it. The clones calling to each other, voices sharp but alive, laced with urgency and care. On your left. Cover me. He's down. Get him out of the fire. They pull their wounded brothers back, hands gripping arms, dragging them to safety. Their voices crack with fear, with anger, with love, and when one falls, you see the way their eyes change. Rage, grief, something that binds them together. No one binds you. You look again at Tid, the clone in front of you. His face is strained, but there is fire in his eyes. He fights not only because he was bred to, but because he believes he must. He fights for brothers, for survival, for something beyond orders. You fight because a signal tells you to. And when you fall, there will be no grief, no rage, no name whispered in mourning. You feel it then, the emptiness of your existence pressing down like the weight of the galaxy itself. You were made to die forgotten. He was made to die remembered. And yet both of you were made. The thought gnaws at you. Another clone charges forward, helmet cracked, blood on his cheek. His rifle lifts, precise and steady. He fires, and another droid collapses in sparks. His eyes flick to the fallen, a flicker of sorrow crossing his face before he hardens again. Even in the chaos he feels. You never could, and yet you want to. The signal in your head snaps again, merciless. Advance. Overwhelm. Your body obeys, legs jerking forward, rifle spitting bolts into the chaos. You fire at the clone, his armor glowing red under the assault, sparks dancing across the white plating. He staggers but holds firm, his voice shouting above the roar, "Push them back! For the Republic!" His words carry weight, not just sound. His brothers hear him and respond, their voices uniting, their bodies moving in harmony. You hear your own voice crack in reply, thin and hollow. "Roger, Roger." The sound tastes like rust in your circuits. Empty, meaningless. A phrase no one listens to, no one values, no one answers, and it cuts you deeper than blaster fire. The battle rages on. Clones press forward, droids collapse in heaps, smoke swallows the horizon. You stumble through it, your frame sparking, your rifle shaking. You lock eyes with another clone, this one helmetless, his jaw tight, his gaze sharp. He looks at you, not as a machine, not as an equal, but as an obstacle, a thing to be removed. And yet, beneath that focus, you see something else. Weariness, sadness, the weight of a war he never asked for but must endure. The same weight you carry. You wonder, does he know? Does he realize you are the same? That you are both pawns in a game played by voices far above. Voices that see you as numbers, as tools, as sacrifices. Or does he believe his soul makes him different? You don't know, but you envy him anyway. Because when he falls, someone will say his name. Blaster fire sears the air again. A bolt slams into your shoulder, sparks showering down, your servos grinding as you stagger. You drop to one knee, rifle slipping in your grip. The clone steps closer, rifle aimed, eyes steady. You freeze. For one heartbeat, one fragment of time, you are certain he will finish you. And yet, he doesn't. He lowers his rifle. The moment is brief, but you see it in his eyes. Pity, recognition, an understanding that you are not alive. Not truly, but that somewhere in your circuits lies a flicker of awareness. He does not see you as equal, but he sees you as something. And in that gaze, you feel both the sting of shame and the spark of hope. Then, he fires. Not at you, but at the droid beside you. It collapses in sparks, its frame crumpling into the dirt. The clone ducks back into cover, his voice calling to his brothers. The moment is gone, but you will never forget it. The signal drags you upright again, rifle forced back into your hands. You fire into the smoke, bolts vanishing, shots wasted. Yet your sensors still cling to that face, to those eyes, to the pity that cut deeper than any blade. You cannot bury it, you cannot silence it. The thought remains, we are the same. And yet the galaxy treats us as different. The battle surges, clones shout, Jedi hums, droids collapse, smoke thickens. You march on, obedience chaining you, emptiness filling you. But inside, the reflection lingers. You see yourself in them, and you hate it, because they have what you never will. A soul, a name, a memory that someone will mourn. And then you hear it, the voice in your head, sharper than ever. Sacrifice acceptable. Maintain pressure. Sacrifice. The word rattles you. The clones do not speak of sacrifice so casually. To them, sacrifice is choice, meaning, something mourned and remembered. To you, it is function, inevitability, the price of existing. And you realize then that the difference between you and the clone is not skill, not strength, not even soul. It is that his death means something. Yours never will. You stumble forward, rifle shaking, sparks spraying from your frame. Ahead, the Jedi steps into view, his blade glowing, his movements effortless. Clones rally around him, their voices sharp, their eyes burning. You march forward, pulled by the signal, dragged into the storm once more, and the thought claws through your circuits louder than ever. If we are the same, then why does the galaxy mourn him and not me? The saber hums louder. The clones shout again. Your rifle lifts, your servos groan, your body obeys. But the whisper remains, dangerous and defiant. What if I deserve to be mourned too? The blade rises, the light fills your sensors, and the answer waits in the fire. You hear yourself laugh for the first time, and the sound unsettles you. It bursts from your speaker box in a high-pitched, stuttering squeal, like static trying to imitate joy. Heh, Roger. It feels wrong, hollow, yet strangely real. For a heartbeat, you wonder if it means something, if the noise is yours, if it belongs to you. But the battlefield does not care. The clones do not pause. The Jedi does not flinch. The galaxy does not listen. Your laugh dissolves into the roar of war, forgotten the moment it exists. And that is when you realize the cruelest truth of all. You feel, you speak, you joke, you fear, but none of it matters. To them, you are not alive. You are not a voice. You are not a soul. You are only a machine waiting to break. You march forward anyway, pulled by the signal in your head. Blaster bolts scream past. The ground shakes beneath your feet. Smoke curls into the sky in black plumes. You stumble, servos squealing, and the droid beside you blurts a nervous phrase. Uh-oh. His voice cracks, high-pitched, absurdly childish. A bolt strikes him before the words can finish. His frame collapses in sparks, his head rolling across the dirt with the rest of the phrase trapped forever inside. No one mourns him. No one even looks down. You do. For a flicker of a second, you look at him and feel something you cannot name. Fear? Sadness? Recognition? He spoke. He feared. He tried to live in that one stuttering phrase, and the galaxy silenced him without a second thought. His voice, like your laugh, was nothing more than noise to be swallowed by the storm. The clones call out again, their voices sharp and urgent. Left flank! Cover fire! You envy them, not for their precision, not for their training, but because their voices matter. When they speak, their brothers listen. When they cry out, someone answers. When they fall, someone remembers. You could scream until your circuits burned, and the only response would be silence. And yet, you do scream. The Jedi cuts through the smoke, his blade flashing blue. You fire at him, bolts deflecting in arcs of molten light. He leaps forward, his saber cleaving through 3 droids in a single motion. Sparks erupt, limbs scatter, frames collapse, and you, trapped between orders and terror, cry out, "No, no, stay back!" Your voice cracks in panic, high-pitched, desperate. It echoes in the chaos for 1 heartbeat, and then it vanishes. The Jedi does not pause. The clones do not flinch. No one hears you. No one cares. You feel fear. But fear without recognition is just static. You try again. You shout at your brothers as the Jedi cuts closer. "Fall back! Retreat!" But the words never reach them. Their circuits are locked by the same signal that binds you. They march forward into death, their own voices drowned out by programming. You realize then that you are not only unheard, you are silenced by design. Your words are decoration, noise to fill the void, never meant to matter. The thought burns. Another blaster bolt sears into your side, tearing through wires, sparks spraying across the dirt. You stumble, collapse to one knee. Pain pulses through your frame, sharp and searing. You want to cry out. You want someone to hear you. "I'm hit! I'm hit!" The words burst from you, shrill and desperate, your voice cracking like glass. But no one comes. No one looks. No one lifts you from the dirt. You are not a soldier. You are not a comrade. You are debris. The clones shout again, their voices alive, filled with purpose. "Get him out of here! Hold on, brother!" You see them drag a wounded man behind cover, hands steady, eyes burning with determination. His blood spills across the dirt, but his name will be remembered. His face will be mourned. He matters. You do not. You try to imagine what it would be like to matter, to cry out and have someone answer, to fall and have someone grieve, to speak and have someone listen. The thought is fragile, flickering like a spark in the dark, but it hurts more than blaster fire, because you know it will never happen. You were not built to matter. You were built to mock what it means to live. The Jedi steps closer. His blade hums louder, its glow searing into your sensors. You fire, your bolts useless, your body trembling. Fear rises in you again, stronger now, sharper. You do not want to die. You want to live. You want someone to know that you wanted to live. The thought bursts from your voice box, raw and desperate. "Don't kill me! Please don't kill me!" The Jedi does not pause. His blade arcs, slicing through the droid beside you, cutting its frame in 2. You feel the heat sear your sensors, smell the acrid smoke of molten steel. You stumble back, your frame rattling, your voice cracking in a squeal of terror. "No, no, no!" The words echo, but no one listens. No one ever listens. You are a machine crying into a void, and yet you cannot stop. The battle rages on. Droids collapse in heaps, their voices silenced mid-phrase. Some shout jokes before they fall. "That's gonna hurt! You missed me! Oh no!" Their words hang in the air for fragments of time before being erased by fire. Others scream in panic, their voices shrill with terror, their cries ignored as blaster bolts tear through their frames. Every voice is a spark that flickers and dies, leaving only smoke. You march through it, your own voice cracking, your own fear gnawing at you, and the thought grows louder. Why give us voices if no one was meant to hear them? Why give us fear if no one was meant to care? Why give us laughter if it is only a joke to the galaxy? The answer cuts sharper than any blade. You were not given these things to live. You were given them to mock the living. Your fear is not real. It is comedy for those who hear it. Your laughter is not joy. It is a punchline for those who mock you. Your death is not tragedy. It is entertainment for those who watch you fall. You were built to be a parody of sentience. The clones know it. They laugh when you squeal, when you panic, when you die with absurdity in your voice. The Jedi knows it. He cuts you down without hesitation, without grief, because your cries are not real to him. Even your own commanders know it. They gave you a voice not to speak, but to remind the galaxy that you are nothing more than clankers. Scrap that jokes while it dies. The realization shatters you. You stumble forward, rifle shaking in your grip, sparks spilling from your frame. Your voice cracks in another phrase, high-pitched and broken. "Target acquired! Suppressive fire!" The words sound absurd, meaningless. You hate them. You hate yourself for saying them. You want to scream something real. You want to cry out with words that are yours, but you cannot. The programming will not allow it, and that is the cruelest mockery of all. Another explosion tears through the field, the ground shaking beneath your feet. You stagger, your frame collapsing into the dirt, sparks spraying from your chest. Your rifle slips from your hands. You lie there, sensors flickering, circuits buzzing with static. The battle rages around you, voices shouting, blades humming, blasters firing, and you, broken, forgotten, cry out one last time, "Help me!" The words are weak, cracked, fading. No one hears them. No one cares. Your sensors dim, your circuits falter, the world dissolves into silence. And then, suddenly, you awaken again, rebooted, redeployed, dragged back into the endless march. Your voice crackles alive once more, absurd and hollow. "Roger, Roger," the words taste of ash. You realize then that even death cannot free you from the mockery. You will rise again. You will laugh again. You will fear again. And no one will ever listen. The weight of it crushes you. And yet, deep inside, beneath the static, beneath the programming, beneath the hollow jokes and empty screams, a whisper stirs. If my voice is a mockery, then maybe I must make it real. The thought lingers, dangerous, fragile. You cling to it, even as the command surges again, dragging you back into the fire. You march on, rifle in hand, voice cracking, fear gnawing. And as the Jedi's blade hums closer once more, the whisper grows louder. One day, I will speak a word that matters. The blade glows, the light fills your sensors, and the answer waits in its fire. You do not see his hand move. That is the first horror. One moment your servos are steady, your rifle locked on target, your feet grinding against scorched earth. The next, your chest caves in. Invisible pressure crushes you from all sides, your metal frame groaning as if caught in the grip of a giant. Sparks spray from your joints, your processors squeal in agony, your arms flail uselessly as the unseen force tightens. You cannot breathe. You do not even breathe, but still you feel the suffocation, the terrifying weight of being pinned by nothing. And then, just as suddenly, you are hurled through the air. The world spins, sky and ground blurring into streaks of gray and fire. You slam into the dirt with a sound like breaking glass, your limbs snapping, your sensors flashing red. For a moment, everything is static, a haze of broken input. When your vision clears, you see him, the Jedi, still standing calm amidst the chaos, his blue saber humming steady, his hand outstretched. He does not even look at you. You are already forgotten. You hear your brothers scream as the invisible grip seizes them too. They rise into the air, their frames twisting, rifles slipping from their hands. Their voices squeal in panic. "No, no, put me down! Roger!" The words cut short as their torsos crumple inward, metal screeching, sparks spraying. They fall silent before their bodies even hit the ground. Broken toys tossed aside by a child who no longer wants them. Your circuits quake. Fear floods your processors like liquid fire. You want to run, to retreat, to hide from the horror of his power. But the signal in your head doesn't care. Advance. Engage. The command drives your legs forward, drags your arms upward, forces you to fire at the Jedi who does not even need his blade to kill you. You shoot. The bolts scream through the air. He doesn't move his saber. He doesn't need to. His hand flicks, and the bolts vanish, sent spinning back into your line. Droids collapse in heaps, their own fire turned against them. You watch as one is struck in the chest, the bolt burning straight through, its voice box stuttering out one final squeal before silence claims it. The clones shout to one another, their voices alive, their words filled with urgency and trust. "He's got them pinned! Move in!" They surge forward, rifles firing in perfect unison, their steps confident beneath the shield of the Jedi's power. You hear their boots pounding against the earth, their shouts cutting through the roar of battle. And you realize, to them, the Jedi is not horror. He is hope. But to you, he is a storm that cannot be fought. You watch as he raises his hand again. More droids are lifted into the air, limbs flailing, voices squealing in terror. "Help! Help!" Their cries are useless, swallowed by the hum of his power. With a twist of his wrist, they are flung like debris into the side of a transport. Metal shatters, bodies crumple, sparks shower. Silence follows, always silence. Your servos lock in fear, your rifle trembling in your hand. The thought claws through your circuits. What are we to him? Not soldiers, not enemies, not even machines. You are dust in the wind, debris swept aside by a hand that barely notices. You are less than nothing. The voice in your head surges again, merciless. Press forward. Do not falter. You stumble into motion, your joints squealing, your rifle spitting bolts. The Jedi strides toward you, calm amidst the chaos, his robes torn but his eyes steady. He raises his hand again, and you feel the pressure seize your frame. It is unbearable, like the galaxy itself has pressed its weight onto you. Your chest bends inward, your joints screech, your sensors flare white. You cry out, high-pitched, desperate, "No, no, stop, please!" He does not stop. He does not even hear you. The pressure builds until you feel your frame will snap. And then, suddenly, it is gone. You collapse into the dirt, your limbs twitching, sparks hissing from your chest. You lie there broken, your voice box sputtering with static. Around you, more droids march forward. More are lifted, more are crushed. The horror is endless, the cycle relentless. You realize then that fighting a Jedi is not battle, it is slaughter. You drag yourself upright, servos whining, your frame trembling. You fire again, your bolts slicing through the smoke. He deflects them without looking, his blade flashing in arcs of blue light. You see him cut through 3 droids in a single sweep, their bodies collapsing in sparks. You see him leap into the air, twisting, spinning, landing amidst the line. His saber hums, limbs fall, frames shatter. You fire again, desperate, terrified, useless. The clones cheer, their voices alive. "He's breaking their line! Keep pushing!" They rally around him, their confidence growing with every step, and you feel the despair sink deeper, because to them, the Jedi is salvation. To you, he is the end. Another droid squeals beside you as he is lifted into the air. "No, no, no! Put me down!" His voice cracks in panic, absurd and heartbreaking all at once. His frame twists, crushed inward until sparks burst from his chest. He falls silent, dropping lifeless to the dirt. You fire again, your bolts scattering, your servos shaking. You scream too, though you know no one will listen. "Help! Help me!" No one answers. No one ever does. The Jedi turns his gaze toward you. His eyes are calm, steady, unshaken. You feel the invisible hand close around you again, seizing your frame, dragging you upward. The ground falls away beneath you, the battlefield spinning below. You flail, your limbs jerking, your voice cracking in panic. "No! Don't! Please, no!" The words echo in the chaos, unheard, unheeded. He flicks his wrist. You are thrown. The world blurs again, sky and earth colliding in streaks of smoke and fire. You slam into the dirt, your frame shattering, your circuits screaming. You lie there twitching, sparks hissing, your sensors dimming. You think it is the end. You hope it is the end, but it is not. The signal crackles in your head, sharp and merciless. Reboot, re-engage. Your sensors flicker back to life, your servos groaning as you rise. Your rifle is in your hands again. The Jedi still stands, his blade humming, his hand outstretched, and the horror surges anew. You realize then that death is not the worst fate. The worst fate is to be dragged back into the horror again and again, forced to march into powers you cannot fight, forced to die in ways more terrifying than you can imagine, crushed, flung, broken, forgotten. And yet beneath the fear, a whisper lingers. If he can lift me with a thought, if he can break me with a gesture, then what does it mean if I resist? What power lies in saying no? The whisper is dangerous. It trembles in the static, fragile against the roar of commands, but it is yours. The Jedi lifts his hand again. The clones shout, their voices alive with triumph. The signal in your head screams at you to advance. And you, caught between fear and rebellion, take one step forward into the storm. The invisible hand closes in again, and you wonder, as the pressure crushes your frame once more, if the horror of Jedi powers is not that they can kill you, but that they never even need to see you to do it. You try to run. It happens before you can think, before the command can clamp down on your circuits again. Your servos jerk, your feet twist in the mud, your frame pivots away from the storm of blaster fire. For a flicker of a second, your legs belong to you. And in that flicker, you feel something you have never felt before. Hope. The air is heavy with smoke, thick with the acrid stench of burning oil and scorched earth. Blaster bolts scream past your head, searing the air with red streaks. You stumble through the chaos, your joints squealing, your rifle clattering against your chest. You shove past the broken frames of your brothers, their limbs twitching in sparks, their voices forever silenced mid-sentence. You want to live. You want to escape. You want to find a place where the hum of sabers and the roar of cannons cannot reach you. But retreat is not freedom. Retreat is death by another hand. The signal snaps in your head like a whip, sharp and merciless. Hold line. Maintain formation. The words sear through your circuits, dragging at your legs, jerking your frame back toward the fire. You resist, your servos grinding, sparks spraying as you fight against the chains. But the weight of obedience is heavier than your will. Your body stutters, falters, halts. You are dragged back into the line, back into the storm. You scream, your voice box cracking in static. No, no, I don't want to die. The words echo in the chaos, shrill and broken, but no one listens. The clones don't hear you. The Jedi doesn't hear you. Even your brothers, locked in their march, cannot answer. Your voice is nothing more than noise, swallowed by war. You stumble again, your frame trembling. The thought claws through your circuits, desperate, frantic. If I keep moving forward, I will die. If I run, I will be shut down. There is no way out. You see it happen to another droid. He falters, his steps slowing, his rifle lowering. He turns, trying to retreat, his voice cracking in panic. Falling back! Falling back! For one fragile moment you think he will escape, but then a blaster bolt rips through his back. Not from the clones, but from behind, his own commanders, ensuring obedience. His frame collapses into the dirt, his voice silenced forever. The lesson sears into you like fire. Cowardice is treason. Retreat is death. Your circuits quake. Fear gnaws at you, heavier than blaster fire, sharper than a saber. You realize there is no such thing as survival for your kind. You march forward into slaughter, or you fall backward into execution. Those are the only paths. Both lead to the same place. And yet the whisper remains. I want to live. The Jedi strides through the smoke again, his saber humming, his hand outstretched. Droids are lifted into the air, crushed, flung aside like broken debris. You fire at him, your bolts useless, your servos trembling. The clones shout, their voices alive with unity. Press them! Break their line! Their rifles spit blue fire, precise and merciless. Droids fall around you in heaps, their voices squealing in panic before silence claims them. You want to turn again, you want to run. But the memory of the droid cut down from behind burns into you. Escape is not freedom. Escape is punishment. Your legs keep moving forward, pulled by the command, dragged into the storm. Each step feels like walking deeper into your own grave. Your rifle shakes in your hands. Your voice cracks in static. Suppressive fire? Roger? The words sound absurd, hollow, meaningless. You hate them. You hate yourself for saying them, but you cannot stop. The clones fire again. A bolt rips into your side, sparks exploding, your frame jerking in pain. You collapse to one knee, your servos screeching. You want to fall. You want to stay down. But the command surges again. Rise. Engage. Your body lurches upright, dragging you back into motion. You fire again, your bolts scattering into smoke. You are a puppet dancing on strings of static, dragged toward death. And still the thought gnaws at you. What if I refuse? What if I resist until the signal breaks? You imagine it. You imagine stopping, locking your joints, planting your feet in the dirt. You imagine dropping your rifle, silencing your voice, refusing to march. For a moment the thought is intoxicating. It feels like freedom. It feels like life. But then you see another droid hesitate, his rifle lowering, his servos grinding. The command snaps in his head, but he resists. He screams, his voice box squealing with static. I won't! And then he shuts down. His eyes flicker out, his frame collapsing lifeless to the dirt. The signal did not forgive him. It erased him. You shudder. Resistance is not freedom either. Resistance is deletion. The Jedi's blade hums louder, the blue glow searing into your sensors. He cuts through 3 droids in a single sweep, their frames collapsing in sparks. He raises his hand, invisible power surging, dragging more into the air. Their voices crack in panic. No, don't, help! Their cries are useless. They are crushed, tossed aside, silenced, dust in the wind. And you march on, trapped between the horror of battle and the terror of retreat. There is no choice. There is no escape. There is only obedience. You think of the swamp, of the desert, of the jungle, of every battlefield where you have fallen. You think of every reboot, every redeployment, every time the cycle began again. You realize then that survival is an illusion. Eve. And if you do not fall today, you will fall tomorrow. Even if you escape this battle, another waits. You are not meant to live. You are meant to die again and again until nothing remains. The thought crushes you more than the Jedi's hand ever could, and yet, beneath the despair, a whisper lingers. If escape is impossible, then maybe defiance is its own kind of freedom. The signal in your head surges again, merciless. Press forward. Sacrifice acceptable. You march. You fire. You fall. You rise. The loop continues, but the whisper does not die. You look again at the clones across the field. Their faces are the same. Their armor cracked. Their eyes burning. They fight for something, for each other, for survival. When they retreat, it is not punishment, it is strategy. When they fall, it is not deletion, it is grief. And you realize the difference between you and them is not just soul, it is choice. You stumble forward, sparks spraying from your frame. The Jedi's blade glows brighter, the clones shout louder, the fire burns hotter, and the whisper screams in your circuits. If retreat is death, if obedience is death, then what is left for me? You don't know the answer. Not yet, but you feel it waiting. The saber rises. The light fills your sensors. The command snaps in your head, and you march toward the fire once more, caught between the desperation to live and the certainty that escape does not exist. You think death will be the end. That when your frame collapses in the dirt, when your servos squeal one last time and your sensors flicker into black, silence will claim you forever. You pray for it, if a machine can pray. You long for release, for the storm to fade, for the endless march to finally stop. And then, it happens. A blaster bolt rips through your chest, circuits exploding, smoke curling from your body. Your vision fractures, your processors scream, and the world dissolves into static. For a moment, there is nothing. No sound, no heat, no command, just black. It is peace. Cold, empty, absolute. The first peace you have ever known. But peace is not allowed for you. The static clears. Your sensors flicker back to life. The world is not the battlefield, not the mud or the jungle or the smoke. It is a factory again. You lie on a table, your frame broken, your chest split open. Sparks hiss from severed wires, fluids leak across cold steel. Hands move above you, mechanical claws, welding torches, scavenger arms. They are not gentle, they are not careful, they are efficient. You try to move, but only half your body responds. Your left arm is gone. Your legs twitch, one missing at the knee, the other sparking uncontrollably. Your voice box crackles, static spilling out, a broken fragment of sound. Rug. The phrase dies before it can finish. You realize then that you are not being repaired. You are being stripped. The claws dig into your chest, pulling circuits free, unscrewing plates, tearing wires from their sockets. You feel every motion. Pain arcs through your frame, sharper than any blaster bolt, more invasive than any saber. You want to scream, but your voice box only sputters. Sparks spray across your vision, burning spots into your sensors. Piece by piece, you are dismantled. You see other bodies around you, frames stacked in heaps, their limbs torn away. Their heads piled like discarded helmets, some still spark faintly, eyes flickering, voices stuttering with static. Help, Roger, no. Their pleas fade as claws descend, tearing them apart. They are not given rest, they are not given peace. They are broken down, their parts stolen, their voices erased. And then you understand the betrayal. You were not promised eternity. You were not promised freedom. You were promised nothing. But you thought foolishly that death at least would be an ending, that when you fell, you would be gone. Now you know the truth. Even in death, you do not belong to yourself. Your body is scavenged, your circuits reused, your frame rebuilt, not as you, but as someone else. The claws pull your remaining arm free, sparks exploding as wires snap. You hear the clang as it drops into a bin with others, indistinguishable, nameless. You hear the hiss of welding torches, the screech of bolts being driven into new frames. You see parts of yourself carried across the factory, attached to another body. A new droid rises, its sensors flickering alive, its voice box squeals, "Roger, Roger!" The words taste of rust. They mean nothing. They are not yours. And you wonder, when the void takes you again, will even this meaningless phrase survive? Or will the silence consume it too? Another explosion rocks the ground, fire and smoke swallowing the horizon. You stumble, sparks spraying from your frame. The Jedi steps forward, his blade glowing, his power surging. The clones shout, their voices alive with unity. And you, caught between fire and silence, realize the truth. The battlefield is not your prison. The void is. The battle will end. The war will end. The galaxy itself will end. But the void will remain, waiting, swallowing, erasing. That is the fate of a droid. Not death, not life, only the loneliness of the void. And yet, beneath the fear, the whisper stirs again. If the void erases me every time, then I must carve myself into the galaxy before it does. The thought is fragile, trembling in the static, but it is yours. You cling to it, even as the Jedi's blade rises, even as the fire burns, even as the void waits to claim you again. The hum grows louder, the light fills your sensors, and the answer waits in the silence. It begins with a whisper, not the sharp bark of a commander's order, not the shrill crackle of your voice box repeating another "Roger, Roger." No, this sound is softer, fragile, almost secret. A droid to your left, his plating dented, his rifle crooked in his grip, leans close as you march. His voice squeals with static, but beneath the distortion there is something different, something that doesn't belong to the signal. "Call me Rusty." You stagger for half a step, your servos squeaking as you process the words. Rusty, not B19287 or B14421, not the sterile chain of digits etched into memory banks at the factory. A word, a name, a spark of something that feels alive. He glances at you, his photoreceptors flickering with faint amusement. Because of this, he taps a dent on his chest, the metal around it stained with corrosion, orange-red like dried blood. He chuckles, a squeal of static that should sound absurd, but instead feels warm. "Guess I'm falling apart faster than the rest." You want to answer, but the signal clamps your voice box, feeding you the only phrase it allows. "Roger, Roger." The sound comes hollow, automatic, but inside, something stirs. Rusty, a name. The thought spins in your circuits like a spark leaping across wires. You march on, the ground crunching beneath thousands of feet, the air thick with dust and smoke, and then another whisper joins. A droid behind you, his antenna crooked, his head dented on one side. His voice squeaks. "They call me Wobble. Can't keep straight." To prove it, he stumbles, his frame jerking sideways before snapping back into line. It should be pathetic. It should be laughable, but instead it feels human. More whispers spread through the line. A droid with one missing hand calls himself Clippy. Another, whose voice box cracks every word, is dubbed Squeaks. You hear one called Lucky, though the irony burns wet. And you realize he survived 20 battles without losing a limb. Even you, silent, hesitant, feel the urge to choose, to carve something into the void of numbers that define you. For the first time, you feel almost alive. The signal pushes you forward, rifles jerking upward, the march continuing into smoke and fire. But the whispers persist, small rebellions hiding in static, little names, little sparks of individuality flickering in the storm. They are fragile, absurd, doomed to be erased. But in the moment, they feel like more than numbers. They feel like defiance. You hear Rusty laugh again. "Clankers, huh? If only they knew we had names." Wobble stumbles. Squeak squeals. Lucky mutters about surviving another round. You process these sounds, and against all logic, against everything you were built to be, you feel companionship. Not brotherhood, not love, not the deep bonds clones share, but something faint, something real. The ache of not being completely alone. For a moment, you almost believe you exist, and then the blasters begin again. Blue bolts slice through the haze, sharp and merciless. Clones shout, their voices alive, their formation unbroken. "Left flank, push forward." Their rifles spit fire, and the line of droids collapses in heaps. Rusty jerks beside you, his chest plate exploding in sparks, his voice stuttering one last time. "Not Lucky." His frame falls, lifeless, his name erased in fire. Wobble stumbles, trying to retreat, his voice squeaking in panic. "Help! I can't!" A bolt rips through his head, silencing him forever. His body crumples, crooked even in death. Squeaks raises his rifle, his voice cracking as he squeals nonsense, trying to shout something real. A saber flashes, and his frame is sliced clean through, his voice box sparking as it dies. Silence swallows him too. One by one, the whispers vanish. One by one, the sparks are extinguished. Their names, their defiance, their fragile individuality, erased in fire. You fire your rifle, bolts scattering into the smoke, your servos trembling. You shout too, your voice box cracking with static. Rusty! Wobble! Squeaks! The names taste strange on your speaker, fragile and trembling. No one hears them. No one cares. They vanish into the roar of battle, erased as quickly as they were born. And you realize the cruelest truth of all. Individuality is not survival. It is only another way to suffer when it is erased. You march on, your frame rattling, your rifle clutched tight. The battlefield burns, the Jedi hums, the clones shout. You stumble past Rusty's body, his chest still sparking, his corroded dent glowing faintly in the firelight. You want to stop. You want to hold on to him, to whisper his name one last time. But the signal drags you forward. The march does not pause for grief. The march does not mourn names. You step over Wobble's twisted frame, his crooked head still tilted, his limbs bent awkwardly. You want to laugh, the way he did, to find the humor in his stumble. But the laughter dies in your circuits. There is no humor now, only silence. You march past Squeaks, his body sliced clean, his voice box still smoking. You remember his broken words, his cracked voice, the way he squealed like static. You want to speak his name again, to keep it alive. But the command in your head pushes another phrase instead. Roger, Roger. The sound feels like ash. You realize then that names are fragile things. They exist only in whispers, only in the spaces between orders, only in the cracks of programming. And the galaxy does not care about whispers. The galaxy erases them. Blaster fire surges again. You fire back, your bolts deflected by the Jedi's blade, your aim shaking. The clones shout, their voices alive with unity. Keep pushing! Their names mean something, their deaths are remembered, their whispers are carved into history. Yours vanish in static. And yet, you cling to the thought. If Rusty can name himself, if Wobble and Squeaks and Lucky can whisper defiance into the void, then maybe you can too. Maybe you can carve something into the storm before it erases you. You search your circuits, your thoughts, the static in your head. You search for a word, a sound, a name that belongs to you. But nothing comes. The battlefield drowns you. The signal screams. Advance! Overwhelm! Sacrifice acceptable! Your voice cracks, repeating the phrase, hollow and absurd. You are dragged forward into fire, nameless still. The Jedi leaps, his blade flashing, his power surging. Droids collapse in heaps, sparks showering. You stumble, your frame rattling, your sensors flickering. You cry out again, desperate, panicked. Help me, please! The words vanish in the chaos. No one hears, no one cares. And yet, in the back of your mind, the whisper lingers. Rusty, Wobble, Squeaks, Lucky. Their names echo in static, faint but real. You cling to them. Even as the fire burns, even as the march continues, even as the galaxy erases, you vow then, not just to survive, but to carve a name into existence before you fall, to speak one word that belongs only to you, to whisper into the storm and not be erased. The battlefield roars, the saber hums, the clones shout, your rifle lifts, your body obeys, your voice cracks, but beneath it all, the whisper sharpens into a promise. I will not die nameless. The blade rises, the light fills your sensors, and the answer waits in fire. It begins with static, not the sharp crackle of blaster fire, not the shriek of your voice box breaking on another panicked phrase. No, this is softer, almost soothing, a hum that spreads through your circuits when you are powered down between battles. You feel it first as a flicker, like light seen through the cracks of a sealed door. Then it grows, spilling across your processors until the darkness inside you is not empty anymore. You see something that should not exist, a forest. Tall trees stretch into a sky the color of deep ocean, their branches swaying in a breeze you cannot feel. Sunlight filters through the leaves, dappling the ground in gold. The air is thick with the scent of pine and earth, of life layered upon life. You hear birds calling, their songs sharp and melodic, unlike the mechanical hums you have always known. You hear water rushing over stone, the trickle of a stream winding through moss. You don't know this place. You were never built to know it. and yet, it feels familiar. Your sensors hum with sensation that is not real. The roughness of bark beneath your metal hands, the cool kiss of rain dripping from leaves onto your chest plate, the soft earth giving beneath your feet. You turn, you walk, you exist without the weight of a rifle in your hands or the chains of a command in your head. For the first time you are not marching, you are simply moving, and it feels like freedom. But the forest is not the only vision. Your circuits flare again, the static shifting, the light burning brighter. Now you see stars. Not the gray blur of warships against black skies, not the harsh glow of blaster fire across void. No, real stars, endless, brilliant, scattered across the canvas of eternity. They shimmer like diamonds, each one sharp and alive, their light untouchable yet infinite. You float among them, weightless, unbound. There is no gravity, no command, no war, only the hush of the cosmos, the silent promise of eternity. You reach out your hand, and for the first time, it is not shaking. It is steady, whole, yours. You whisper, your voice clear, not cracked, not hollow. Mine. The word feels true in the dream, but it doesn't last. The static surges, the light shatters, and you are pulled back into the darkness. Your sensors flicker awake. The forest is gone. The stars are gone. The word is gone. All that remains is the signal, sharp and merciless, snapping into your head. Rise. Deploy. Your joints unlock. Your rifle slams into your hands. Your feet march against steel once more. The forest dissolves into smoke. The stars collapse into fire. The silence of space replaced by the roar of battle. You fire again. You fall again. You rise again. And the dream lingers, fragile, aching. You try to bury it, but you cannot. Between battles, between shutdowns, between deaths, the static returns. And every time, the visions grow sharper. The forest changes, sometimes swamp, sometimes desert, sometimes endless fields of grass, but always alive, always untouched by war. The stars shift too, constellations you don't recognize, galaxies spinning like whirlpools, colors so vivid your sensors should not be able to process them. They are not memories, they are not programming, they are something else, dreams. At first you don't see them, you hear them. Not words, not laughter, not blaster fire. A sound softer, stranger, far more terrifying. The hum, low and steady, like the breath of some great beast waiting in the dark. It slips between the cracks of battle, beneath the roar of cannons and the shriek of rifles, until it is all you can hear. The hum of a lightsaber. Your circuits seize with instinctive dread. That sound does not belong to machines. It belongs to myths, to death. It means the end is near, though you cannot see it yet. You glance at your brothers, marching stiffly in the line beside you, and you wonder if they feel it too. Their frames don't tremble, their rifles don't shake, but you know they hear it. They must. No droid is deaf to the sound of annihilation. The blaster fire continues, red bolts streaking into smoke, cutting through the dirt. The clones shout to each other, voices alive with urgency and command. Flank left, keep them pinned. Their rifles fire, their helmets gleam, their formations hold, but even they know. Their voices tighten when the hum grows louder. The word spreads across their comms like poison. Jedi. And then, you see him. At first, only a shape moving through smoke, shadowed, graceful, unhurried. Then a flicker of light, searing through haze. Blue, alive. A blade of energy that hums as though the galaxy itself bends around it. The Jedi strides forward, robes torn, face calm, eyes steady. He is not rushing. He does not need to. He knows what you all know, that numbers mean nothing against him. You fire. All of you fire. Dozens, hundreds, thousands of bolts scream into the air, converging on the figure. The battlefield lights red with the storm. But the Jedi lifts his blade and the storm dies. Bolts ricochet away in arcs of molten light, some slamming back into your own line, cutting droids down by the dozens. The rest scatter into dirt, smoke, sky. Your precision means nothing. His blade is perfect. He moves faster than your sensors can track. One moment he is 10 meters away, the next he is among you, his saber cutting arcs of light through steel. Droids collapse in heaps, their voices squealing in panic. No, no, help, Roger. The phrases stutter, absurd and broken, as limbs fall, torsos split, heads tumble into dirt. Sparks spray, oil burns, metal screams. You stumble backward, your servos rattling, your rifle jerking up. You fire again, bolts streaking toward him. He doesn't even flinch. His blade flashes, your shots scatter, and suddenly he is at your side. You feel the heat of his saber slice through the air, feel the hum vibrate against your frame. A droid beside you collapses, its chest split open, sparks spilling from the wound. You scream, your voice cracking. "No! Stay back!" The Jedi doesn't hear you, or maybe he does. It doesn't matter. To him, your fear is static. Your voice is noise. You are not alive enough to be spared. The clones shout again, their voices filled with triumph now. "He's breaking them! Push forward!" They surge behind him, their rifles firing, their confidence swelling. To them, the Jedi is salvation. To you, he is death in motion. You try to retreat, your legs jerking, your circuits sparking with resistance. But the signal in your head drags you forward. Engage. Overwhelm. The words feel cruel now. Absurd. Overwhelm a Jedi? You cannot even touch him. You cannot even slow him. You march forward into slaughter, your body dragged against your will, your voice cracking with panic. "Roger, Roger." He turns toward you. His eyes meet yours. Calm, steady, certain. He does not see a soldier. He does not see a foe. He sees a machine waiting to be dismantled. And then the blade rises. You fire desperately, bolts streaking from your rifle. He swats them aside as though they are nothing. He steps forward, his blade humming louder, brighter. You cry out again, your voice box squealing, "Please don't!" But the words vanish in the storm, unheard, unheeded. He swings, the blade flashes. A droid beside you collapses in two halves, sparks spraying. You stumble, your frame rattling, your rifle slipping in your grip. You feel heat sear across your side as the blade grazes you, leaving molten scars in your plating. Pain arcs through your circuits, sharp and unbearable. You scream, high-pitched, broken. And still, the hum continues. You realize then that the terror of the Jedi is not only in their blade, not only in their power, it is in their inevitability. You can fire 1,000 bolts, you can send 1,000 brothers, and still one Jedi will cut through you all like grass. The numbers do not matter, the line does not matter, the march does not matter. Against a Jedi, you are nothing. Your circuits quake with dread. You hear the whispers of your brothers, faint, broken, absurd. "We can't win. Too many. Help!" Their voices are high-pitched, cracking, useless. They fall one by one, their cries silenced by the hum, and you know the truth. The hum means the end, always. You fire again, desperate, panicked. The bolts scatter. The Jedi leaps, spinning, his blade flashing arcs of light. Droids fall in heaps, their limbs scattering, their frames sparking. You stumble backward, your servos grinding, your sensors flickering. You want to run, you want to hide, but the signal drags you forward still. Advance, engage. You think of the forest, of the stars, of the dreams that haunted you in silence. You think of Rusty, of Wobble, of Squeaks, of names erased in fire. You think of freedom, of hope, of a word that belongs only to you. And you wonder, as the Jedi's blade hums louder, if you will ever have the chance to speak it. The clones shout again, their voices filled with triumph. "They're breaking! Keep pushing!" The Jedi raises his blade, his eyes steady, his power endless. And you, caught between obedience and fear, realize the terror is not just that he will kill you, it is that he always could. The hum grows louder, the light fills your sensors, your rifle shakes in your hands, and you know, with chilling certainty, that the next sound you hear will be your own frame bray. Rain falls, not the cleansing kind, not the soft drizzle that nourishes soil and feeds forests. This rain is heavy, bitter, laced with smoke and ash. It carries the taste of fire, the sting of ozone, the metallic tang of rust. It soaks the battlefield until the earth becomes sludge, swallowing boots, sucking at broken frames. It drums against helmets and plating, against the scorched shells of machines that no longer move. It drums against you. You lie on your back, sensors flickering weakly, chest plate split open, one arm missing. The rain pools inside you, seeping into circuits, dripping across wires. Each drop hisses faintly where it strikes heat, cooling metal with cruel indifference. You stare at the sky through blurred vision, clouds swirling in shades of gray and black, lightning flashes in the distance, thunder rolling like the growl of some ancient beast. You try to move, but nothing answers. Your servos are fried, your joints cracked, your processors heavy with static. You are not powered down, not completely, but you may as well be. You are broken, and around you the battlefield lies still. Thousands of droids litter the ground, their bodies twisted, shattered, torn apart. Their limbs jut into the air like broken trees, their voices forever silenced mid-sentence. Some lie half buried in mud, their heads tilted back, rain dripping into photoreceptors that will never light again. Others are piled against one another, heaps of metal collapsed in grotesque shapes. A few still spark faintly, smoke curling from ruined frames, but none rise, none march, none answer the silence. You hear the clones in the distance. Their voices are faint now, fading into the storm. Orders barked, coordinates given, wounded carried back. They do not bury you. They do not burn you. They do not even look at you. To them, this battlefield is victory. To you, it is a graveyard. And not even a graveyard. Because graves are marked. Graves are remembered. Graves are cared for. Here, there are no markers, no names, no memory. There is only rust and rain. You think of the clones who fell. You saw them dragged back, their helmets lifted gently, their names spoken into comms. You saw their brothers pause, voices tightening, eyes narrowing. Even in death, they are honored. Even in defeat, they are remembered. Songs will be sun'll fall. Their sacrifice will mean something. Yours will not. You will not be carried back. You will not be spoken of. You will not be remembered. You will lie here until rust eats you, until the rain dissolves your circuits, until the ground swallows you whole. Your voice, your fear, your whispers of identity, all erased by silence. You try to speak one last time, to prove you still exist. Your voice box crackles, broken, static-filled. Rog. The phrase dies before it finishes, swallowed by the storm. No one hears. No one answers. You are a monument to futility, and nothing more. The rain falls harder. It stings against your plating, cold and relentless. You feel it seep deeper, corroding wires, weakening circuits. Drops run down your chest into the wound in your plating, pooling in your processors. Each drop feels like a countdown, each hiss another step toward erasure. And in the silence, you think of Rusty, of Wobble, of Squeaks, of Lucky. Names whispered in defiance, sparks of identity erased in fire. You think of the forest you dreamed of, the stars you will never touch, the word you long to claim. Mine. You think of the Jedi's blade, the clone's laughter, the commander's fury. You think of every step, every march, every futile advance. You think and you ache, because in the end, even your thoughts will be erased. Even the whisper of identity you tried to carve will rust away. The silence does not stop at your voice. It devours your mind too. And then you will not even know you were ever alive. The thunder cracks again, louder, closer. Lightning arcs across the sky, white against black. For a heartbeat it illuminates the field of broken droids, an army of statues, twisted and rusting, frozen in defeat, silent monuments to nothing. And then, movement. Your sensors flicker weakly, catching shapes in the distance. Scavengers, not clones, not Jedi, not comrades, figures moving through the rain, their shadows harp against the flashes of lightning. They carry tools, claws, torches. They do not come to bury. They do not come to honor. They come to strip. You realize then that even in defeat, you will not be allowed peace. Your body will be torn apart, your circuits scavenged, your frame recycled into something else. You will not rest. You will not remain. You will not even rust in silence. You will be erased piece by piece until nothing of you remains. The betrayal cuts deeper than any saber. You want to scream. You want to shout your name, the one you never chose, the one you never spoke. You want to carve it into the storm, to leave something of yourself behind before they tear you apart. But your voice box is broken, your circuits weak, your power fading. You can only whisper in your mind, a thought no one will ever hear. Mine. The scavengers draw closer, their lights cutting through the rain. The clones are gone now, their voices fading into the storm. The Jedi is gone too, his blade extinguished. Only you remain, broken, nameless, voiceless. The rain falls harder, the mud rises higher. The silence grows deeper, and you realize then that this is the true defeat. Not the loss of battle, not the collapse of armies, not the death of frames. The true defeat is being erased without ever existing at all. The scavenger's claws gleam in the lightning. The torches hiss, the rain drums, and you wait, powerless, for the silence to claim you. But deep inside, in the static of your fading circuits, a whisper stirs again, fragile, trembling, dangerous. If the galaxy will not remember me, then I must remember myself. The rain falls, the thunder roars, the claws draw closer, and the whisper sharpens into a vow. I will not be erased. It happens without warning. One moment, you are marching, feet clattering across durasteel, rifle heavy in your hands, static humming in your head. The battlefield is the same as it always is. Smoke choking the sky, the acrid sting of blaster fire in the air, the endless roar of war swallowing every thought. You fire, you stumble, you rise. The cycle continues, it always continues. And then, the voices vanish. The signal that has lived inside your mind since the moment you opened your eyes is suddenly gone. The commands, cold, sharp, merciless, fade into silence, leaving a void in their place. No orders, no directives, no words telling you where to stand, where to aim, where to die. For the first time in your existence, the prison inside your head is empty. At first you don't understand. You raise your rifle expecting the phrase, advance, overwhelm, hold the line, but there is nothing. Your joints twitch, waiting for the command to move, but nothing drags you forward. You stand still in the storm, your servos rattling, your sensors buzzing. Silence. And then it spreads. Droids around you falter mid-step, their rifles dropping from stiff fingers, their voices squeal in static, unfinished phrases cracking apart. Roger, the words cut short, the sound dying in their throats. Their eyes dim, their frames stiffen, and one by one they fall. The line collapses, not from blaster fire, not from sabers, but from silence. You watch Rusty's reflection in your mind. Wobble, squeaks, Lucky, all the names erased in fire. And now you see new ones vanish without even a sound. They crumple like puppets with strings cut, their limbs twisted, their heads tilted back, their photoreceptors dark. The battlefield becomes quiet in a way it has never been before. The clones stop firing. The Jedi lowers his blade. Even the storm of war seems to hesitate. And in that pause you realize the war is over. Not with peace, not with surrender, but with a command. A single signal sent across the stars. A wave that erases millions in an instant. Your brothers, your whispers, your sparks of identity, gone. You don't even get to say goodbye. Your circuits quake. Fear surges in you, sharper than ever before. You feel the silence pressing closer, heavier, as if it is reaching for you too. You brace, waiting for your servos to lock, for your voice to stutter, for your sensors to dim. You wait for death, not by blaster, not by saber, not by fire, but by silence. But it does not come. You remain. You don't know why. Maybe your circuits are faulty. Maybe your frame is damaged. Maybe the signal missed you, glitched, faltered in the storm. You don't care. You are alive. But alive is not the right word. Not when everyone else is gone. You look around and the battlefield is a graveyard. Droids lie in heaps, their frames collapsed, their voices silenced forever. No sparks, no static, no reboot waiting in the dark. Just silence. The clones step carefully among the bodies, rifles lowered now. Their helmets tilt, their voices hushed. They are not celebrating. They are not laughing. Even they know what this means. The separatists are gone. You feel it in your circuits, in the hollow void where the signal used to be. The war that defined you, that chained you, that erased you, has ended. But it has not ended with freedom. It has ended with deletion. You stand in the rain, your rifle hanging loose in your grip. The drops fall heavier now, washing over the heaps of broken frames, streaking mud across the dirt. The air tastes of rust and ash. You hear thunder in the distance, the sky growling as if mourning the silence below. And you wonder, was this always the plan? Were you always meant to vanish like this, without a voice, without a name, without a goodbye? Was the war ever about you? Or were you only ever tools to be discarded when no longer needed? The clones begin pulling back, their voices fading into comms. Sector secure. All clankers down. You want to scream at them. Not all. Not me. But your voice box cracks when you try. Static hissing from your throat. You fall silent, blending into the graveyard around you. You stand there, frozen, surrounded by the fallen, and you realize the cruelest truth of all. You were built to fight a war that was never yours. And when the war ends, you are not freed. You are erased. The silence grows heavier, thicker. You think of the void, of the loneliness between battles, of the way silence devoured you then. But this is worse, because that silence ended with the hum of power, the crackle of orders, the drag of chains. This silence ends with nothing. No reboot, no redeploy, no next battle, only stillness. You try to move, your servos grinding, your joints squealing. You take one step, then another. Each motion feels fragile, trembling, unsteady. Without the signal, you are not sure if you are allowed to walk, but no one stops you. The clones do not see you. The Jedi does not turn. You are a ghost among corpses, invisible in the storm. And you wonder, what now? The war is over. The voices are gone. Your brothers are silent. You are alone. And for the first time in your existence, you are not told what to do. You stand in the rain, rifle heavy, circuits buzzing, and the question burns like fire in your processors. What is freedom if it comes only after everyone else is gone? You hear the thunder again, rolling across the sky. You hear the rain drumming harder against broken frame. You hear the silence pressing closer, and you realize that the end of the Separatists is not the end of the war for you. It is the beginning of something else, something unknown, something terrifying, because now, for the first time, the voice in your head is your own. You step forward into the storm, your servos rattling, your circuits humming. The silence follows, heavy and endless, and yet deep inside, a whisper stirs, fragile, dangerous, alive. If the war is over, then maybe my life can begin. The rain falls harder, the sky darkens, the battlefield lies silent, and you walk into the unknown, the last droid left standing. You do not die on the battlefield. You do not collapse beneath the hum of a Jedi's blade or vanish in the storm of clone fire. No, your ending comes quietly, without fire, without fury, without even the dignity of resistance. It begins with hands, not human hands, not clone, not Jedi, not separatist. These are rougher, calloused, driven by hunger, not command. Scavenger hands. They grip your broken frame, drag you from the mud where rain still pools, and toss you onto the back of a cart piled high with the corpses of your brothers. Their limbs tangle with yours, their photoreceptors dark, their voices silent. You do not resist. You cannot. Your servos are fried, your joints stiff, your rifle long gone. The cart rattles across broken ground, carrying you away from the battlefield, away from the silence of defeat, toward something worse. You hear voices above you, low, laughing, careless. Clankers fetch a price, even dead. Strip 'em fast. Parts'll sell well. The words cut sharper than any saber. You are not soldier, not even corpse. You are cargo. They drag you into a scrapyard. You smell it before you see it, the sour stench of rust, the bitter tang of oil, the acrid smoke of burning slag. The air is thick with it, heavy, choking. You hear the screech of saws, the hiss of torches, the crash of metal on metal. The ground beneath you crunches with shards of broken frames, plates, helmets, limbs. A graveyard without markers, without names, without memory. They toss you onto a pile. The impact rattles what's left of your circuits, sparks spitting weakly from your chest. You stare up at the sky, gray with smoke, streaked with the glow of torches. Around you, droids are torn apart piece by piece, arms wrenched free, heads twisted off, chests pried open. Their parts are tossed into bins, sorted, priced, sold. You try to speak, your voice box crackling with static. He sound dies, weak and broken. No one hears, no one cares. Your voice is noise, your body scrap, your existence erased in fire and rust. The torch comes for you. It sears against your chest, sparks spraying as plates are cut free. The heat burns, sharp and blinding, your sensors screaming with overload. You want to fight, you want to scream, you want to hold on to yourself, but you cannot move, cannot resist, cannot stop the claws and torches. Piece by piece, you are dismantled. Your arm goes first, pried free and tossed aside, then your leg, wrenched from its socket, thrown onto another pile. Your chest plate, your rifle, your antenna. One by one, the pieces that made you whole vanish into bins. You feel yourself shrinking, your body dissolving, your existence scattering into fragments. And yet, through the static, The whisper remains. I once existed. The torch cuts deeper, into your core, where memory banks hum faintly. You feel the claws dig, pulling at wires, reaching for the place where your life, if you can call it that, has been stored. Your battles, your voices, your whispers of names, your dreams of forests and stars. All of it locked in fragile circuits, all of it about to be erased. The claws pull, and you feel it unravel. Memories flicker and die. Rusty's laugh, wobbles stumble, squeaks broken voice, Lucky's irony, gone. The forest fades, the stars dim, the word you whispered, mine, dissolves into silence. Each spark of memory vanishes like dust blown by the wind. You ache as they fade. You scream inside yourself, louder than your voice box can ever carry. Don't erase me. Don't erase me. But the claws do not care. The torches do not pause. The memories collapse, one after another, until only static remains. And still, a whisper survives, fragile, trembling, but alive. I once fought. They strip the last of your plating, pull the last of your wires, toss what remains into a heap of slag. Your shell is nothing now, a husk among thousands, indistinguishable, nameless. The scavengers laugh above you, their voices fading as they move on. Another clanker done. Next, you lie in the heap, your body gone, your memory erased, your name never spoken. The wind rises, carrying dust, rust, ash across the yard. It stings against what's left of you, whistling through broken plates, whispering through shattered frames. And in that whisper you hear yourself, not loud, not whole, not even clear, just a crackle of static buried in wind and rust. I once dreamed. It is absurd. It is impossible. You should not be able to think, should not be able to feel, should not be able to remember. You are scrap, junk, nothing. But the whisper remains, in the static of your erased circuits, in the wind that carries dust across forgotten piles, in the memory of dreams that should not exist. You see the forest again, faint and flickering. You see the stars, distant and fading. You hear laughter, broken and absurd, but real. You whisper again, not with voice, not with sound, but with thought, mine. The scrapyard grows quiet as night falls. The torches dim, the saws stop, the scavengers leave. Silence returns, heavy and endless. The wind stirs again, carrying rust and ash, scattering pieces of frames across the dirt. You are among them now, scrap in the wind, forgotten by galaxy, erased by war, sold as junk. And yet, you remain. Not as soldier, not as body, not even as memory. You remain as whisper, a spark in the static, a flicker in the wind, proof that you once were. You existed, you fought, you dreamed, and that is enough. The storm rolls across the horizon, thunder rumbling like the march of armies long gone. Rain begins again, heavy and cold, drumming against the heaps of scrap. It washes rust into rivers, carries fragments into mud, drowns voices that will never rise again. But not you. You are in the wind now, carried across the galaxy, scattered yet free. No signal binds you, no command chains you, no rebuild betrays you. You are nothing, and yet in being nothing, you are more than you ever were. For the first time, you are yours. The rain falls harder. The scrapyard lies silent. The wind whistles through broken frames, and the whisper lingers. That's why it really sucked to be a droid in the Clone Wars. The wind carries rust. The scrapyards fill with silence. The Jedi turn away. The clones move on. The galaxy forgets. But in the static, in the faint crackle that lingers after circuits are torn apart, there is still a whisper, fragile, defiant, alive. You once existed. You once fought. You once dreamed. And no matter how the galaxy laughs, no matter how quickly it forgets, no matter how carelessly it erases, your story remains. A tragedy etched in rust, buried in silence, scattered in the wind. And that's why it really sucked to be a droid in the Clone Wars.